Maybe he's just a confident, well-spoken, ex-military intelligence officer who just happens to have lost his mind. Do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Have you ever had a psychosis, a delusion?
No.
Is there anything in your medical history that might be capable of being interpreted as a reason why you might be confabulating, making things up? Do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Maybe he's just a confident, well-spoken, ex-military intelligence officer who just happens to have lost his mind.
What if some of that shit is so big? What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved? Big, it can't be moved. Big. What if some of that shit is so big? What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved? Big, it can't be moved. Big. In a country outside of the United States of America. In a country outside of the United States of America. In a country outside of the United States of America. In a country outside of the United States of America. Big. They're too bloody big. They're too bloody big.
So big.
They're too bloody big. They're too bloody big. They're too bloody big. They're too bloody big.
So big.
They're too bloody big. They're too bloody big. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where it is. But it was bollocks big. But it was bollocks big.
Greetings and salutations, friends. It's not often that we get a 2-for-1 grifter bundle, but tonight we're going to get just that because two of my favorite of the UFO land grifters apparently decided to do a grifter team up. Grifter powers activate! With all our grifting combined, we can make twice as much money from retarded people on the internet. And I'm here to tell you, this is one hell of a grifter team up. Ross Coulthart, who famously claims that he knows where a giant alien spaceship is on Earth, and it was too bloody big to move, so they had to build a building around it, and he knows exactly where it is, but he can't tell us because, you know, that I guess it's classified. And of course, Ross Coulthart is the same guy who said anybody who withholds information about aliens or UFOs on Earth should be tarred and feathered and drugged behind a Humvee. So I guess we got to start up the Humvee, get the tar, heat up the tar. Ross knows where a giant spaceship is, and he's got to tell us, or he should be tarred and feathered and drugged behind a Humvee. This guy is ridiculous. And in the introduction to our show tonight, did you hear him asking Ross Coulthart if he had any mental problems? That's called incredibly terrible journalism. That's called clickbait nonsense. Let's make sure that people don't think that you're crazy while you're telling us that alien space monsters are running around Earth murdering humans. Do you have any mental issues? No. Oh, except that he got put in a mental institution twice against his own will. Was it once or twice? I'm not sure, Ross. How the hell do you work for a news organization? And I know that, but you don't. And then they cut that part from the video. You know that part where they asked, and when it became clear that David Grusch was a former mental patient. They cut that from the interview, that little section there. But I still have it. This is Ross Coulthart also famously accused a whole bunch of members of the British Parliament of being child predators, aurists. You know, rhymes with grapist. You remember? Yeah, you remember that? And then his contract wasn't renewed with 60 Minutes, and he couldn't get a job anywhere. But don't worry, along comes clickbait fake news channel News Nation to give him a job. So he jumped into the grifting space. He's been caught selling so many fake stories, or let's just say evidence-free stories. And today we're going to sample him interviewing another of my favorite grifters, a guy who once accused me of racism because I correctly pointed out that he got arrested and pled no contest to bank-related fraud charges, as best I recall. I got a letter from a lawyer accusing me of being a racist because I said a black man got arrested and pled no contest. And he did. I'm not a racist. Those are facts. I don't know. And Billy Carson, famously, he's been having a tough time lately. Billy Carson got his entire lost books of the Bible kind of grift destroyed by a real biblical scholar, which made me happy because I'm a Christian. And I watched him for years telling people completely fake things about these so-called lost books of the Bible. He didn't know what he was talking about. He was completely wrong about all the shit that he said. So he got pummeled and destroyed by Wes Huff, and everybody cheered. Fuck this grifter. There goes your Bible scamming career, grifter boy. But as luck would have it, he still had aliens to grift off of, and he still had ancient mysteries to grift off of. You know what his ancient mysteries are? The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, a completely fake book by basically a lunatic. Yeah, great. And those tablets were teleported in and out of pyramids and shit. Oh, it's a great story. And Billy Carson also made a documentary about the fakest, stupidest UFO story ever in the history of UFO stories, the Black Knight satellite, which, you know, there's a few cool looking pictures of this thing, but the most famous of which turns out to be a thermal blanket that somehow escaped from the space shuttle cargo bay and was floating near the space shuttle, and somebody got an image of it. It's not a satellite. So he's completely wrong about that. And I love how these guys we're here to bring you the truth while they're lying to you or bringing you completely and totally fake as shit stories. And we want to welcome some kind and generous benefactors like Days of Boyhood with £5. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Oh, I want to show you something. Thank you. Look at this. Yeah, I've already started. Days of Boyhood. Throw $5 in our hat. I'm starting a bird sanctuary in the Pocono Mountains very soon. Maybe as soon as next week. I was going to go to the cabin this week. Looks like it's going to snow. Thank you. It says cabin birdhouse money. Can you play the airport horn for my super chat? Absolutely. If people don't like it. So yeah, I've already started collecting the birdhouses. I've got a pile of 10 of them over there. They're all different though. This one's very nice, made by a really nice craftsman called Wild Wings. You see that? It says Wild Wings. He makes these, and the cost of the lumber and all that sanding, and it's just not worth me making them myself. So I'm trying to get 20 birdhouses, 20 feeders, and 5 bird bags to start it off. So thank you, Days of Boyhood. Yes, that's my grift. It's the bird sanctuary grift. Everybody should contribute. Don't you want to help those little birds? Don't you want them to have a nice place to take a bath and eat some shit and have houses? You don't want the birds to be homeless, do you? You can't let the birds be homeless, friends. You've got to contribute so I have some extra money. Right? Yay, a birdhouse. Thank you, Days of Boyhood. All right, so after Billy Carson's entire Bible grift scam got busted, right? And I have to say, as a Christian, I had been watching him get these so-called Bible stories completely wrong for years and years and years. Some of you know, I went to like 12 years of Catholic school, and I also spent some time at a priestly seminary, almost became a priest myself, very well versed with the Bible. And I have a specific interest in what is called the often called the lost books of the Bible, or the non-canonical books of the Bible, like the Book of Enoch, Book of Jubilee, these kind of things that got cut from the Bible. So I knew that he was completely wrong in most of the shit that he's been talking about on the internet about the Bible for a long time. So Wes Huff comes along, bam, screws up his Bible grift. Then his wife divorced him. Oh no, that's his second failed marriage, I believe, at least according to Google. I don't know if that's true. Two-time loser. Yes, the Apocrypha, it's often called. Lay people don't usually use that term. I most often hear the term the lost books of the Bible. And anyway, so his Bible grift gets busted by a real biblical scholar that made him look like such an uneducated, stupid asshole. It was glorious. And then his wife is like, oh man, all the Bible scam money is going away. It's all drying up. All that Bible grifting money is going away, and you won't be able to talk about your hidden knowledge, forbidden knowledge of the Bible that's all wrong. And yeah, all that money's going away. I want a divorce. And for the second time, a woman apparently divorced him. Well, he might have divorced the first woman himself. I don't know. Two-time loser at marriage, right? Which doesn't surprise me, because these grifters have an up and down. When the grifting money is good, everybody's happy, including the wife. But as soon as that grift money dries up, they leave. Well, I'm pretty sure Corey Good's wife will be filing for divorce any minute now. We know that a lot of these grifters end up divorced because the grift starts failing. It's hard to just live with a guy who lies to people every day. You got to imagine, if somebody's willing to go out in public and just lie to the public every day, he's probably lying to his wife about a lot of shit too, but who knows? Apparently, though, Billy Carson claimed that he had an amicable separation from wife number 2, who I believe may have had some criminality in her past as well. At least that's what I've heard. Take from that what you will, rumors and speculation. Yeah, he divorced that Asian chick. Yes. Yeah, she left. Space Cash. Yes, Billy's second ex has her own grift YouTube channel too. Yeah, she learned from Billy Carson. Why have a job? Just talk about new age nonsense, and you too can make a whole bunch of money. So I'm going to put my fair use banner up, but first we have to change the background here. I apologize here. Let's change the background. That's better. And I'll put my fair use banner up. This is a transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the video that we are sharing. We are going to be discussing this video with my live chat. I'll be offering my own commentary and opinions on this grifter team up. This is the best grifter team up, at least, that I've seen in a while. Like, these two both have been caught selling completely and totally fake shit multiple times each. So it's a lot of fun to find out that they found each other. And where did they find each other? At Conscious Life Expo, where all the grifters go. If you want to know if somebody's fake, just look at the Conscious Life Expo grifter speaker list. Ismael Perez, the guy who has Superman powers, is there this year. And I guess Billy Carson and Ross Coulthart are there as well. Nice, right? All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to begin. We're going to get right into it. Uh-oh, that's not good. Huh. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. Man, being like half blind sucks sometimes. I'm like, in the right place to this. We will get into this. And I love that grifter Ross Coulthart, who, by the way, we felted him something fiercely. We caught him selling so many fake stories. There was the Patchgate fake story. There was the "we have conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku" fake story. The fact that a news organization would give this complete and total grifting, scamming scumbag a job tells you everything you need to know about News Nation. Why do they give a job to a guy who gets everything wrong, who does no fact checking, no research? He's willing to interview literal mental patients talking about aliens in order to get a juicy story to sell. In other words, he's a complete and total scumbag, right? But it is what it is. This is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. And by the way, thanks to the person who posted this in my Discord, I had no idea this happened. But people wanted to hear what I have to say about this, so here we go.
G'day and welcome back to Reality Check. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart, and today I am very excited to welcome to the show someone who I have watched with wonder, awe, and envy for years, Billy Carson.
He was jealous of his grift. Did you hear him? I've been jealous of this grifter. I'm so excited. Maybe he can teach me how to scam morons on the internet. Awesome.
Billy, welcome to Reality Check. Good to have you here, sir.
It's great to be here.
I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about...
By the way, wasn't it Billy Carson who gave himself a Lifetime Achievement Award? Or was it... He got a Lifetime Achievement Award given to him by Jimmy Church.
Billy
and he cried, I think, when they gave it to him.
From
Anybody find that clip? Email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com because it's hysterical, but I couldn't find it when I looked earlier.
Queens, New York, was raised in Miami, Florida. He had a challenging upbringing marked by poverty and curiosity about the world beyond the visible.
Yeah, when I got a letter from his lawyer basically was arguing that since Billy had a tough childhood, I shouldn't correctly point out that he was arrested because he had a tough... Well, look, man, I grew up on the mean streets of Philadelphia, poor as shit. Like, you don't get a pass for that kind of stuff.
You were an entrepreneur from a very young age.
He's an entrepreneur.
This is just an incredible fact about you. At the age of 12, you had started your first business, a digital car stereo company. And by...
Don't you love that Ross Coulthart is basically just reading the script about him that he was handed by... I bet you he was handed this by Billy Carson. Like, here's my bio.
13... You were earning more than your mum.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. These early experiences in overcoming adversity.
Who boasts about something like that? Like, unless you're trying to sell me a course on how to be an entrepreneur, right? Like, oh, I started my first company at 12 years old, and in a year I was making more than my mom. Only an egomaniac, loser, asshole would boast about something like that.
Fueled your drive to explore deeper truths. You were inspired by ancient texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Enuma Elish, and the Emerald Tablets attributed to the Egyptian deity Thoth. Billy's worldwide, how do one say this? Your worldwide distribution has evolved to encompass theories of
2 days ago,
origins,
this was posted. Somebody's asking how old this is.
Consciousness. You posit that humans may have been genetically engineered.
Yeah, where have we heard that before? We just heard David Wilcock saying that humans may have been bioengineered by aliens. Well, go talk to a geneticist or an evolutionary biologist. They'll tell you you're wrong about that, right? But hey, don't let things like science and facts get in the way of a good story you could sell morons on the internet.
By advanced beings not native to Earth. And that reality could be a holographic simulation tuned to cosmic rhythms.
Wow, he's hitting all the conspiracy tropes, isn't he?
In the early 2010s, Billy founded Forbidden Knowledge, Inc., a multimedia empire dedicated to uncovering forbidden knowledge.
Yes, and he also formed, I don't know what year, I'd have to look it up, but he also formed First Class Space Agency, where he claimed that they were going to create space technology and free energy. And he ran that as a charity, I believe, right? Wasn't it? Was that a charity? Billy's free to correct me. And for 3 years, he collected money for that, but he never filed his 990 form, so they revoked his charity status. So I have a very important question. Billy, how much did your charity collect, and what did you do with all that money? You're required by federal law to report to the appropriate federal authorities how much money you collected for that charity and how much money you spent and on what. So how much money did you collect and where did all that money go? I've been asking this question for years. I can't get an answer because he never filed the 990 forms for 3 years in a row. And when you don't file those forms for 3 years in a row, they revoke your charity. And to the best of my knowledge and recollection, that's what happened to Mr. Carson's charity. Though he constantly, people send me stuff all the time where he claims he's giving books to homeless children and, you know, giving money to charity. I don't know. It seems shady to me. That's all I will say about it. And that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it.
On ancient civilizations, UFOs, hidden technologies, and conscious living. This platform became a hub for documentaries, online courses, ebooks, even a record label, attracting millions seeking alternatives.
Yeah, who's on his record label? His son. Awesome.
To mainstream.
To the best of my knowledge or recollection, his son. There may be some others, I don't know.
Dream narratives. Billy's a best-selling author. Breakthrough book was the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets.
And just so everybody's aware, when we did our Wes Huff, like when he got pelted and felt it and destroyed by Wes Huff, we went over all his Emerald Tablet stuff. It's completely and totally fake. So I love when people are like, I'm a best-selling author and everything in my book is a lie. Like, who cares that you're a bestseller? You got to be a best-selling author by selling lies? Like, that's not something you should be proud of, pal, right? Yeah, I keep hearing this. Steve Mack says, your live YouTube keeps not giving me notifications about the 5th time. P.S. I love this show. Love you, man, for waking us up from the grift. Thank you. Everybody right now should check that you are subscribed and that your notifications for my channel are turned on. That's all I can tell you. I don't know. I get messages all the time where people aren't getting notices. The best thing to do is to follow me on X at Stephen Cambion. We always post the shows there a few hours before broadcast, so you'll know when they're going to be. RP is here. Did you go full DSP and abandon goals? No, there's a goal posted, isn't there? I thought I posted one. Did I forget to save it? Let me check. I apologize. Thanks for letting me know. No, we gotta have a goal. Yeah, there is a goal. The goal tonight is 30 super chats of $5 or more. It's a very meager goal, but we thank you, RP, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. Set notifications to all from our channel. That is correct. I am not goalless. We do have a goal, and we need 28 more. Yeah, right at the top of the chat. And Arlene is sharing my X, so you could just click that link and go right there. Also, before I forget, best practices. Right at the top of the oh, sorry, I'm doubling up here. Right, I went to 1 second. All right, right at the top, pinned at the top of the live chat is our new Clips channel. And I appreciate everybody that has subscribed there in the last couple of days. If you haven't already, go to our Clips channel, subscribe there, and watch every video there. We're trying to get the watch time up so we can get that channel monetized and given to our longtime contributor, Spooky, to run. But we have to get it monetized because Spooky's not going to spend hours and hours every week making clips of the live shows without compensation. And I don't blame Spooky, right? RP708, thank you. With another one for the goal. See, I got 2 out of you. Says, oops, I wasn't scrolled all the way to the top. No worries. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and big support of the show. RP, we got 2 from RP and Days of Boyhood. We might be able to buy 1 birdhouse already. Nice. Thank you, guys. Let's continue.
The modern decoding of ancient wisdom. Follow-ups include The Epic of Humanity, which explores human origins. You've made TV, film, you've been a producer, host, you demystify topics like the afterlife, higher dimensions, and alien encounters.
And how much evidence does he have for all of his claims? About as much evidence that he had that Jesus wasn't crucified. Remember that?
Forbidden Knowledge TV, a streaming
which is
network,
offensive to all Christians.
You also have a first-class space agency. Yeah. And aerospace firm researching zero-point energy and alternative propulsion.
I can't believe he's still putting that on his resume. The charity got revoked. Didn't the charity for your first-class space agency get revoked by the federal government because you never reported your income or expenses?
Yeah. And you host the Forbidden Knowledge podcast.
Yes.
So, Billy, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the piece of paper so I could lick your asshole for the first 3 minutes of this interview.
Talk in the context of what's just happened in the last 24 hours.
And by the way, listen, if you're going to interview somebody, shouldn't you do some research on them? Why didn't Ross Coulthart know that Billy Carson got completely felted or that his charity got revoked? Like, these guys are all so fucking lazy, it drives me nuts. Like me, if I get one fact wrong, my whole channel is over, right? Feels that way anyway, right? And people hold me accountable as well as I should be, but there's never any accountability. Ross did no research. He's just at Conscious Life Expo, met the other grifters and was like, oh, let's get some grift money going.
Yeah. What's your take on President Trump's announcement that he's supposedly going to open the files?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's twofold. One is he's got a lot of negative attention because of the Epstein files. And I think that his advisory board and his cabinet probably came to him and said, look, Obama kind of leaked out that aliens are real just about maybe 36 hours prior.
Remember what I said, that these guys twist what happened into whatever narrative they want? And here we're seeing it in real time. Obama clarified his statements later. They always leave that out. Obama was just saying, the universe is so big, I believe there's intelligent life out there somewhere. That's what Obama said.
And I heard Trump, he was actually getting on Air Force One, and he was asked by a journalist about what Obama had said about the aliens, and he said that...
I gotta say, Billy's looking awfully rough right now, isn't he? Or is it just me? Man, I think that West Hoof feltoning and the divorce really took a toll on him because he looks beat up, tired. Kind of looks like a I'm not gonna say it. He'll threaten to sue me.
Obama violated a secret oath. He had violated.
I thought that was the hilarious part, because we've all been told for years that aliens aren't real. There's no aliens coming to this planet, and then all of a sudden Trump lets slip that Obama's talking about something classified.
It's classified. You can't talk about the aliens. He signed off on it. He's putting out classified information. But I don't know if aliens are real. But now all of a sudden, the day after, I think his cabinet got together and said, you know what? This will be a great distraction away from these Epstein files. So let's go ahead and release the aliens.
Oh, how unoriginal.
Now, the aliens, some people think, well, he's just doing...
How are you going to distract from the Epstein files? There's a public searchable database, and people are finding new things in them every day. That story is not going away, unless maybe that story would go away if you showed some alien bodies and that was real. But a simple distraction is not going to stop the Epstein, avalanche.
Doing it just to do a cover-up. No, I think the information he's going to put out is real. I think there's a lot of question marks around it already just because the government has been so inconsistent with a lot of what they've done, and people are starting to see through the cracks. But I believe that the information they will put out actually will be real information.
What's your take? Do you think the American public, the world, has been lied to about any knowledge of a non-human intelligence on this planet?
It's not that we're being lied to.
Why doesn't Billy Carson ask Ross Coulthart where the giant spaceship is buried?
Now, in the past, we were lied to, but now...
And isn't that interesting? Ross Coulthart knows where 100% proof of alien visitation on Earth is, but he can't show us.
It's being obfuscated.
Instead, he's making podcasts talking to other, disgraced grifters that got caught.
And so they're using, curious terminologies like UAPs. So now it can be something they created or another government created, or maybe it could be a UFO, a real alien craft. They want to take control of the narrative because if you just say UFO, they had already categorized that as somebody wearing a tinfoil
I'll do that, Tim Curley.
And so now we can take control of the narrative, give it a new acronym. So that
he doesn't live near me, though, so he's probably going to send it.
The fact is,
FedEx.
in my opinion, the secret behind all of the secrecy is really getting access to these craft, utilizing scalar wave technologies and other different types of weaponry to bring them down, to go capture them, reverse it.
More UFO mythology, repeated nonsense. Billy Carson, what is your evidence that scalar technology has been used to shoot down alien spacecraft? Is your evidence of that? Other grifters said it. Other scammers that had no evidence said that. This guy, like, for all of his ego and all of his pretense, right? Like he's very pretentious, this guy. He's dumb as shit. I'm allowed to say that. He's dumb as shit. This Billy Carson is dumb as shit. There, I said it. Anime Chris is here with one for the goal. He says all he's got left is that Walmart blazer. Can't even afford a dress shirt anymore. Times are tough, man. He's probably got to pay alimony and a divorce settlement and shit like that. I don't know if he had kids with that woman. Maybe if he did, he's got to pay child support. It doesn't leave a lot of room for expensive wardrobe, right? That's why it's all he's got left. That is correct. And thank you, Anime Chris, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show.
Near the technology, weaponize it, and then monetize it.
When I'm on the road chasing UFO whistleblowers with Megan here...
Yeah, this is his producer. She's dumb as shit, too. This girl, poor girl, she got a job producing at News Nation Ross Coulthart's fake stories. What do you think that's going to do for your career, you dumb bitch? How stupid are you? Do you think that's going to look good on your resume that you were helping a UFO scammer who's been caught selling countless fake stories? You're producing a disgraced journalist whose contract was not renewed because he accused members of British Parliament of being PDF files. You think that's going to look good on your resume, you dumb cunt? And I'm sorry, but like I'm run out of patience for being nice to these people. Rhonda Iser is here with one for the goal. That's a birdhouse. That's a whole birdhouse right there. Rhonda Iser, very kind and generous of you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. She says, thanks, Stephen, and praise the birds. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. That's one birdhouse. We're one birdhouse up. Thank you, Rhonda. Billy Carson should have been a narrator for nature documentaries instead of a UFO grifter. Well, you know, I often say this. Some of these guys, these grifters, are very talented. I don't really count Ross Coulthart or Billy Carson as one of those talented grifters, but some of them, sure, they you know, very imaginative. If they put their skills into doing something other than scamming people with fake stories, they would probably do well. Arlene says, poor Gail, bet she was assigned to him rather than choosing him. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny, too, because she does that thing where, like, her Twitter profile picture makes her look like she's, like, a hot piece of ass, but then you see the full body shot, and you're like, oh, big girl, right? A lot of women do that. I don't like it. It's deceptive.
Very difficult to get a decent feed. So when I get home here, there's nothing better than cooking a great home-cooked meal.
Look at what this clown is shilling, right?
I love home cooking, and I've discovered there's a really good way of doing that, Megan. Do you cook?
Unfortunately, Ross, I do not. So I'm really looking forward to what you're about to tell me.
I want to tell you about...
His commercials are ridiculous. He's always shilling something. Wasn't he shilling, like, supplements and shit? And Billy Carson, go look at his website full of ridiculous products, right? Is he still selling the Fountain of Youth in a bottle, right? Oh, a lot of controversy there. I don't even want to get into that for legal reasons, but okay.
A young age with ancient ideas. What started that? What kindled that?
I'll be honest, after reading through a lot of the children's books, my father caught me reading the Bible. We had, you know, the Bible there. We had...
If you read the Bible so much as a child, why did you get all your Bible takes so completely wrong, buddy?
A couple of fragmented pieces of encyclopedias at the time in New York. I was in New York. And then, of course, children's books. And he caught me reading the Bible, and he said, "Are you reading that?" He said, "Can you read it out loud?" So I started reading the verses out loud. And I think I was reading at that time, I think I was reading the 23rd Psalm. You know, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie in green pastures. He leads me to still water. He restores my soul, so forth and so on. And so I'm reading that.
I wonder what does Jesus think of Billy Carson pushing fake Bible nonsense for so many years, right? Someday we're all going to meet our maker. He's going to have to explain himself.
And he's like, "You can read that." And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, from now on, you're going to do book reports." I was like, "Okay." I didn't know what a book report was. But he explained to me what it was.
I don't know. From what I've seen, I have kind of a hard time believing that Billy Carson can actually read. Just it's my opinion. I'm entitled to it.
Wow.
And he gave me these sheets of paper that had enough for the name, the title, the date,
Maybe he can read, but he chooses not to,
and then a description and a summary.
This is a good daddy you got here.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of crazy stuff, but that one thing he did, okay, because it forced me to get comprehension.
Sure.
And when a kid is from age of 1 to 7 is when you have a brain like a sponge.
Yeah.
You can learn almost anything.
He taught you how to think, didn't he?
Yes, he taught me how to think. This is why I dedicated my financial literacy book to him, because I wouldn't be able
financial
to
literacy
most of the things
with
I've
Billy
done
Carson
today without that comprehension, knowing how to think constructively and knowing how to ask questions.
So what was your favorite book that captured your imagination about unexplained knowledge, ancient civilizations?
Yeah, he's smarter than everyone else. Exactly.
Well, as a
failed
child,
thinking
to be honest
class,
with you,
Billy.
The text was really in the biblical text initially.
Because the Bible is
You're right, Adam. He decided it's easier to make it up.
A lot of mythology and a lot of texts that parallels other more ancient texts.
But it's funny, I only learned this, I have to admit to you, because I started reading the
we ought to check that out.
As a result of you. I went, for heaven's sake, I'm going to have to go and read this stuff.
A lot of
but it's a
IPs,
good
trademark.
Story. The Enuma Elish is literally, I think it's 1,000 lines.
That book is total shit.
By a
Billy Carson's Emerald Tablets book is total garbage.
And deciphered from the Sumerian.
Right.
The Grifter's Bible, his favorite book.
Creation.
Yes.
Right. Came out of the Library of Ashurbanipal.
The reason why I'm talking about this in the context of the Bible is you've talked about how there are links, so many similarities between what the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Emerald Tablets, these mythical retellings of human civilization and prior civilization.
Well, see, but it's mixing nonsense with real history. The Epic of Gilgamesh is real. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth is basically a channeled book of nonsense from a complete and total scammer grifter, right? Basically, Billy Carson picked up some old school grifter's scam and then ran with it and expanded upon it. Mixing the real ancient text with fake ancient texts
are evoked in the Bible as well.
Exactly. So what I found, and the terminology, the correct
terminology. Yes, no proof of the Thoth tablet.
Found out
exactly.
Can't say it's copied, but you can say paralleled. So when you read the Enuma Elish, which predates the biblical text, you see a lot of parallels there, including
that's fair. A to Z, yes.
Itself, even the formation of our
AZ zero AZ. I mean,
well, even I noticed that the fundamental idea. And I've always thought it's quite sexist, really, is that women.
This is called the grifter reach around.
Used to create woman.
Right.
And I've always assumed
that may be a little bit at least. SCF and network
analysis.
Definitely genetic.
But it's interesting because it's in the Bible. But until I read the Enuma Elish, it's also in the Enuma Elish.
It sure is. And you look at some of the other texts that came out within that time range of 7,000 to 8,000 years.
You could smell the grift on them. That's bad when you can smell the grift on them.
Goddesses of ancient Kemet, before it was called Egypt. She also had a Sumerian name as well, but she decided that she was going to give birth to Adamu, the first man.
Yes, this info that Carson is spewing is what helped shred it.
This Adamu, this first man, she says she's
going
to take it. Add her essence to an egg of one of the existing beings, or one of the hominids that were already here, probably our cousins.
Sure.
And they genetically modified something within that egg. In the modern terms, we call it making a zygote, and we insert that zygote into the.
This guy knows as much about science as I know about I don't know. This is just ridiculous. You go ask a geneticist if there's proof in human DNA of genetic tampering, Billy. Go ask an evolutionary biologist.
Woman, and she'll take it to term. She says she took this baby to term for 10 months, gave birth to the Adamu.
Yeah, Johnny Carson is way better than Billy Carson, yes.
And then she tried to
make... really?
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't know if they did, right?
It's the precursor to Adam.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
That is.
That would be fun.
Adamu is Adam.
So do you think there might be some truth, some eternal truth?
Yes, a South Park episode would be good, Wojcik.
I think that what we're missing here is that these were people that did this genetic modification and this tinkering with us
Were they people, or were they
No evidence of any of the shit that he's talked about so far.
I believe they were
someone else?
I believe that they were just advanced beings.
Yeah.
I really do believe that they were advanced beings. I don't think they were multidimensional. I think they were people that were here that came to this planet. And my theory is that they came from a very
There you
place.
go. Anime
They
Chris
originate
with a very
in
good
my
point.
opinion, from
He said, my sister happens to have a degree in genetics. When I asked her, she just laughed. That's what every scientist does. But we're supposed to believe that every geneticist, every evolutionary biologist, every anthropologist, every archaeologist, all of those people are wrong about human origins and evolution. And somebody like Billy Carson, with no scientific degree that I'm aware of or background, is somehow right. And every other scientist on Earth is completely wrong about that. And that's the arrogance of these grifters, right? Like, oh no, don't talk to a real scientist and ask them about this. I found an ancient story that I'm going to twist and turn and connect dots that aren't really there.
the Pleiadian star system.
Why do you?
It's like taking the story of Adam and Eve and twisting it into aliens made Adam and Eve. It's a story. That's not science. It's just so thin, tissue paper thin, what they build their bullshit on.
Say that. What led you to that view?
I collect a lot of artifacts, and I have replicas of a lot of artifacts. A lot of the ones in the British Museum.
Yeah, I won't look at anything that goes against their
attention
story.
to these artifacts and these cylinder scrolls, you'll see a lot of depictions of the.
No, they're not
Pleiades
settled,
on the
but I'm
And
pretty
then
sure
there's
most
star
scientists would
maps
agree that
in
there's
the
no
ancient
evidence of
Sumerian,
alien
Babylonian, and
tampering with
Syrian culture
DNA to
that
create
show
humans.
Star maps leading through Orion's belt and everything else to get to the Pleiades, and then.
So you think this shows an alien civilization that actually had an understanding of where star systems were in the universe?
They knew this. They knew how to get
Maybe.
there.
I'm going to check them at the Kick Live chat. Thanks for reminding me.
Sumerian that shows the Pleiades and other star systems and the path that a comet took through that to hit Earth and strike Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty intense stuff. They have a display of our entire solar system on a disk with all the planets orbiting the sun.
Now, at this point, Billy, I'm going to be the scornful, contemptuous, orthodox science. I'm going to say, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a professor of archaeology.
Winter Soldier is throwing pennies at me.
Civilization.
Matthias followed the channel.
What do you know, Billy Carson?
All right, a penny up. Thanks to Winter Soldier. A kick penny.
I've done the work. I've done the research. I've spent years traveling the world on my own dime. I spent over now $2 million traveling the world. I've been around the world now 23.5 times.
I don't know about all this. This seems pretty braggadocious. And wasn't he running like Egyptian tours? So it was a business for him to go to Egypt and give people tours and talk about his nonsense. I don't think that qualifies as on your own dime if you're being paid to do it.
I visited ancient cultures, well, the modern sites, but to study the ancient cultures. I've sat with Bushmen, sages. I've gone for walkabouts in the outback with Aboriginals. I've sat with the pyramid priests. I've done all the work. I've sat with real archaeologists, real geologists that are
Who? Name them. Why won't he name the scientists he sat with?
Professors at universities. I've done the work, and I've done my own studies. I have a certificate from Harvard in ancient civilizations.
He took an online course. Did you hear that? This is where it gets grifty.
Certificate from Harvard in ancient civilizations.
I have a certificate from Harvard.
That are professors at universities. I've done the work, and I've done my own studies. I have a certificate from Harvard in ancient civilizations.
That was, as best I recall, a free online course that anybody could take. Does anybody remember Harvard X or MIT X, where they offered some online courses? So Billy took an online course, and then he called himself Harvard alumni in some of his marketing and, grifty material. He called himself Harvard alumni because he took one online course. That's how grifting is done, right? Take one online course. And by the way, I'm a big supporter of those online courses. I took a bunch of MIT coding courses that I could never hope to afford if it wasn't a free online course. So I'm a big supporter of those. And I've taken a whole bunch of MIT X online courses and passed and got a certificate. I'm not out here calling myself MIT alumni, but that's what Billy Carson did. He called himself Harvard alumni.
and I have a certificate from MIT in applied neuroscience.
And there you go. And he called himself MIT alumni, or did he? I'm sure he called himself, as best I recall, I'm sure he called himself Harvard alumni. I don't know if he's running around telling everybody he graduated from MIT too.
What I was going to ask you was, do you cop a lot of invective from establishment science when you make some of the connections that you make?
Oh, they don't like it.
No.
Yeah. Because it goes against their mainstream, cool
because it's
system.
pseudoscience,
Like,
fake nonsense,
that,
Billy.
There were a civilization that potentially genetically modified existing hominid to create what we call Homo sapiens sapiens.
And yet, this is what really fascinates me.
That is true, Chris.
When I was about 25, and I interviewed a molecular biologist called Michael Denton, who's become
I flew on a plane once, so I'm a pilot, says Copley CFO.
About how the hypothesis, it's not a theory.
Troll got a degree from Crackerjack University.
It doesn't make sense.
He graduated from BS University.
Telling me that
That's
the
correct.
rates of mutation for the development, the level of development of the human forebrain.
That is correct. I'm more MIT alumni than Bob Lazar.
To incredibly advanced Homo sapiens in relatively short periods.
They really are good at embellishing and exaggerating. Yeah, that's how it works.
He talked about, I still remember
is that
this,
a Superman?
Yeah,
I don't
cosmic
know.
shove. And he said, I can't explain it any more than that. Something
Maria went to catatonic state.
And that's what you're describing. You're suggesting that there was deliberate tinkering
it's even
by a
deeper than that.
non-human intelligence.
It's even deeper than what he suggested, because I started studying, why am I dark skinned? Why does my skin reflect sun a different way than your skin? You're light skin, right? Why are some people more yellow, more red? Why is that? Well, I started looking into genetics, and I found that there's a 2% variance in races. So we're all a human race, but there's a 2% variance that makes me dark, makes you light, makes someone else yellow, red, whatever. And so, but that 2% variance can't happen in 200,000 years.
Exactly. 7 p.m. as usual.
It would have taken millions of years for it to occur. And scientists and geneticists say they call it an artificial mutation.
And you know the thing I find also, I mean, I'm having fun slagging off.
Yeah, we got the melanin from the aliens, Anime Chris. That's right.
I get really annoyed about the arrogance of orthodox science. I think it's been wonderful. It's achieved a lot of technological breakthroughs. But on the theory of evolution, for example,
troll.
One of the things that fascinates me is we don't have the fossil record
Sons of the
to show the transitions between different species.
Yeah, we don't have it. What we do have is quite a few different hominids that were here at various different times, and some running consecutively, concurrently with each other at the same time, but we don't have the transition between. We have like a species here, and a species here, all fully formed.
Yes, and we're discovering more. We're always discovering more. I don't know that they'll ever fill in all the blanks.
All fully operational and functional. And some
this is the excuse these alien pushing nonsense peddlers give.
Apex on this
well,
planet.
we don't have the full map of all of evolution, so must be
on the planet at the same time.
Sure. That was an amazing description that you gave of the fact that they understood how a comet had got from a star system to Earth.
Yeah.
Are there any other examples like that where you sort of sat back on your heels and went, "Oh my goodness me, this is evidence of something that is
posting episode 2? It'll be on this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Hope you tune in.
When I went to Egypt, I go sometimes twice a year. I'll be there twice this year. You go to the pyramid at the shore, and you look at the structure itself, the outside casing. You can see that something struck it energetically and blew it up, and the pieces of debris that are strung.
Oh, and here we go again. Every Egyptologist is wrong. Something struck that pyramid and blew it up. Sources? Trust me, bro. All those archaeologists and Egyptologists, they're wrong. I know what really happened.
Strewn out all over the desert.
Forbidden knowledge, more like forbidden bullshit.
They're charred pieces of rock. And when you pick them up, you can see that they've been charred and burned.
Yeah.
Not by the sun, but by something with extremely high temperature. And you begin to realize that something struck here. When you look at Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley in Afghanistan,
man, he's good at mixing up a bunch of stuff. It's like the David Wilcock school of grifting. Just mix up a bunch of shit. We're 17 minutes in.
Buildings.
He talked about the Bible, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Emerald Tablets of bullshit. The ancient pyramids, evolution is wrong, and aliens made people.
The sand brick buildings that were made from mud, they turned to glass. The bodies are still laying in the street today in 2026, untouched. Still there, holding hands. Some are holding hands, and there's no evidence of any scavenging of the bodies because the radiation is higher than background level radiation.
So do you think it was a nuclear explosion or
Oh,
something?
absolutely. 3,000 degree
Oh,
temperature
God,
required
come
to
on.
turn sand to glass and to immediately irradiate people and kill them on the spot.
I agree.
What's this place called?
I agree, Black Hood.
Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley. It's located in Afghanistan.
Wow. It's funny, I've heard of another nuclear explosion. Apparently there's a town in India.
Yeah, we're all
where
getting
there's
stupider
high
just
levels of
listening to these
isotopes that
fools.
are only
That's right.
consistent with a nuclear explosion. And I've asked friends of mine, interestingly enough, who work in weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
That's true, Archaic
And
Revival.
they actually sort of
Yes.
gave me a kind of a curious look, as if to say, how did you know that?
Wow.
Why is this secret not really discussed? 'Cause
That's
the
probably
idea that
correct, Humboldt,
there's
honey,
been-
but I'm no
I mean, a
expert
nuclear
in ancient
explosion.
history.
I know that there's a mine in Africa
Mhm.
that reached criticality
Yeah.
by natural
Yes.
happenstance.
Mhm.
And, there are isotopes that are consistent with forming different isotopes of uranium.
Mhm.
But what you're talking about here
Now they're
is
gonna
a
try to
nuclear
out-bullshit each
explosion
other.
That's
Yeah.
consistent with a nuclear weapon
With a
having
weapon.
been used on this planet.
Yeah. With
So
a weapon.
what's the history of that?
Well, when you look at, for example, you look at Mars as the god of war, right? And I started looking at Mars when I saw all these areas and some of these deserts on Earth, and I realized
Now we got to
this could
grift
be
off of
weapons
Mars,
fire.
too. Mix
And then I
Mars
started
in.
looking at Mars, and Mars had a similar resemblance to some of these areas on Earth that had been destroyed from what looked like to be
No,
an
they
ancient war. And
copyright
it's
claim
also in the
everything.
text in the
You can't.
Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Indian Vedas talk
Is
about
this the
war.
Leering
And
Center?
I said,
Yeah, it
why would
sounds
they
like
call
the
it God of
Leering
War?
Center
So
to
I started
me.
researching a lot about Mars, and I found that the
The
Mars
cat's
Global
on
Surveyor
holiday.
and some of the rovers that
Dueling
came back and said
bullshitters.
that there's
Yes.
extensive amounts of
SEFN
xenon in the
network.
atmosphere and
I
the
am
soil.
leering.
Not any kind of xenon in terms of isotope, but weapons grade xenon that can only be produced, as far as we know, a byproduct from nuclear warfare.
You might have heard of, I think his name's Dr. John Brandenburg.
That's right.
And
Great book.
he's talked about the fact that he
Mhm.
thinks there was a nuclear weapon used on
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah.
And it might explain
Mhm.
why. Only yesterday, actually, I tweeted.
Yeah.
There's a symbol of a spherical cylindrical object that
Mm.
was seen by Mars by
Two
the
totally
rover. Do you think
uninformed
that NASA
retards
is suppressing
comparing
photographs
notes on
to
their
show
retard
evidence of life?
levels.
I formed a
That's
group
what
called
we're
the United
witnessing right
Family
here.
of Anomaly Hunters years ago.
We are leering
Oh, yeah.
about lying
And a
grifters
lot of our
as
anomalies
FPU
have made
soft.
to
That's
Ancient
correct.
Aliens,
Thorncrow says
History
it's
Channel
weapons
series,
grade.
CNN, NBC, Huffington Post. We made mainstream news.
Y'all
because we're
gonna
showing
leer
objects.
today.
We've gone through over 1 million
Salty
downloads,
pug.
cataloged about 60,000 anomalies, things that are out of place objects that should not be there. A lot of it looks like,
Next year starts the
broken
secret
down
space
or
claims.
destroyed
Yes.
construction, broken pieces of
The leering
things
is
that may have
reaching
looked like they
epic
were
levels
intelligently
here.
made.
Yes.
Some things you can't make out, but what you can say is, doesn't look like it belongs within this area. And other things that
Could be.
resemble similar things on
It
Earth.
sure is a name
like
dropper.
structures in
Yes.
Egypt and other temples in Peru. So it's a big question mark. But when you go to the Epic of Atrahasis, and you find out that there were a group called the Ijiji,
This is where, sorry?
the Epic of Atrahasis in the British Museum.
Okay.
They have text in it to talk about this concurrent civilization.
If he was so wrong about all those Bible books and he got everything completely wrong about that, I don't really trust this guy to tell me the truth about ancient manuscripts, because apparently he's a little bit retarded when it comes to ancient writings, right?
on Earth and Mars at the same time, and that the people who were working there in some way wanted to go to war against Anu, Enki, and Enlil. So this war, this
He's a
ancient
huffer.
war may have happened. In the Mahabharata, they have a weapon called the Brahmastra.
Yeah, and then
And the
Joe
weapon is
Rogan
so
brought on
powerful,
Wes Huff
it can
to
destroy
destroy
anything on three
everything that he
worlds.
talked about
And
while
once
he
it's
was on
released,
Joe
it can't be
Rogan.
returned. It can't be.
Joe Rogan was the
He
height
makes a
of
reference
his
to stellar
grift,
weapons,
and it's
I
all
think.
downhill from
absolutely.
here for
It's
him.
interesting, President Trump and President Putin from
Wasn't that long ago he was on Joe Rogan, and then Joe Rogan felt like an asshole for having him on and had Wes Huff on to debunk all of his bullshit, which Joe Rogan almost never does, right? But the outcrying, oh, and now he's talking of Ross Coulthart, disgraced Australian journalist who accused people of being PDF files with little or no evidence.
Russia. At different times in the last year or so, they've both made reference to super weapons.
Yeah,
And they've both indicated that, they have weapons that the world doesn't know about.
yeah.
And I really worry that
Yeah.
we're at a period in history where we're in a more
Mahabharata,
dangerous
yeah.
time than ever before. And yet, from what you're saying,
I will say
there
this.
have been more
Some of those ancient texts are really hard to get through. Like, I tried to read I try to read a few of them, and it's tough to get through those.
There's times that we just don't know about.
Yeah, we're just catching up. We're the new kids on the block, you know. We're just catching up to what the ancients
just
already
like Corey
knew.
Good making all this crap
we're
up.
not learning from past
The Off
mistakes
is a
and
cool
suppressing
story, but it's
information
just a
to the public.
story. It's
not
fake.
allowing us to learn from past mistakes.
So do you agree with people like Graham Hancock when he says that there have been prior civilizations on this planet?
Oh, I believe so. And the Hopi tribe as well. The Hopi said we've gone through 4 worlds and we're heading into the 5th. And I believe Graham Hancock was spot on, and that we are.
Karen's got Billy on JRA.
Risen and fallen several times already. And
I agree. It was sad to see him get that shot.
Could be through
a
war,
lot more people deserve that shot than him.
Of all the places you've been in the world, what's the one location that captured your imagination in this context?
Egypt is the place. Every time I go back, there's a new discovery.
It's an amazing place, isn't it?
They're just digging and digging, and more things come up. And now I predicted the underground area beneath the Giza bedrock.
Do you think that's real?
In 20, oh yeah, that's 1,000% real. In my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and on page 34, I show columns going under the ground, underneath the pyramids at Giza, and I say that they go on for miles. And I have a quote there from Herodotus, who said he actually saw the construction underneath there, and it was greater than anything the Greeks could have ever built. And then, of course, fast forward 7 years later,
he's heading for the 5th.
Filippo Biondi and Armando May, with their satellite SAR technology with a 10 gigahertz band, discovered this area underneath the bedrock that's about the size of 5 or 6 Burj Khalifas.
Yeah, and that's all that stuff under the pyramids is still in debate, and the papers aren't peer reviewed. There's no scientific consensus. It's basically one guy or a few guys saying that there's all these structures underneath the pyramids. I would wait for real science to determine that before you just believe a bunch of proven guys that have been caught selling fake stories and giving out fake information, Just think about how much disinformation, misinformation, and fake information about the lost books of the Bible that Billy has been caught spewing. He's not a trusted source of information. He's basically an idiot.
Now, look, I'm not a scientist, but I've always been taught by friends of mine who do synthetic aperture radar imaging that you can't look down that far with this.
Did you get this from the wizard that lives in the Emerald City, Billy?
What he's doing is legitimate?
Oh, yeah. I've been through several of his lectures in person. I've traveled around the world to come show up at his lectures and watch his science and review his documents and review his scans. He's using a slightly different version of SAR technology and a slightly different bandwidth. What he's doing is
TJ Felony says, "Oh no, not this guy again." Yes, you're about to get stupider just listening to this, TJ Felony.
Then rendering an image.
So it's more than synthetic aperture radar.
Right. Yes.
He's actually drawing on vibrations.
Yes, they were
activity
channeled book.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what he's doing, and that data it actually tells.
Isn't it interesting how many of the grifters love channeled books? Like a lot of people grift off of the Urantia book. That's channeled. Off of the Law of One. David Wilcock loves grifting off of the Law of One. That's a channeled book. And the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are a channeled book. Grifters love channeled books. But I don't know about you. I'm not taking information from somebody who claims to channel interdimensional beings and write books through that method. Some people may argue the Bible is channeled too, though. So I guess I shouldn't be too harsh on it. And I have a friend who's big into the Urantia book. And here's what I'll say. Before he got into that book, that person that I know was a mess. He was kind of like a drinker, drugger, kind of a loser, always getting fired. He just was a mess. And he got into this Urantia book, and he's now like a decent human being. So if it helps people, then hey, great, I guess. Even if it's bullshit, I don't know. Chad Wellington with one for the goal. Did you know that it's alleged that official DSP was mentioned in the Epstein files a total of 59 times? He's going for the gold there, golden showers. I don't think that's true. But thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And thank you also for being a member. Big support from Chad Wellington. Let's get some more support, friends. I will check in with the Kick chat, see if there's anything. But, Kopi Berra supporter. Just send a full send on Kick. Winter Soldier is throwing pennies at me, but at least Capybara supporter, thank you. Capybara supporter is throwing dollars at me. We like the dollars more than the pennies, you clowns, right? Steven is the GOAT. All these years and Steven is still standing strong. Do you know how many people were hoping I would die on an operating table recently, Steve Long? I got sent some screenshots, and I'm not going to say where they were from, but let's just say that the grifters were all like, hope he fucking dies. Fuck that guy. I guess I'd really do affect their grifts and their pocketbooks. But yes, we're still here. I have another minor brain surgery. These are two words that should never go together. Minor and brain surgery. I have another minor brain surgery to get through. But I'm feeling like myself again before the recent brain bleed, brain aneurysm event.
Spaces are empty and which spaces are solid. And then the computer renders that particular image.
Now, it's interesting. You and I have probably at different times come up against...
Yeah, a few people said... You know what was funny, TJ Felony? Of all people, I don't even know that she still had my number. Of all people, do you know who sent me a lot of nice messages? Anjali, that former Defense Intelligence Agency information warfare specialist whose entire original story we busted as completely fake. She sent me all these texts telling me she was praying for me every day and stuff. Nice lady, right? And that's something that I did not expect. Even David Wilcox said that he hoped that I pulled through. But he didn't mean it. Chad Wellington says, seriously, ask PPP. I don't know about that. Are you kidding me? No. Darkside Phil is mentioned in the Epstein files. He can't be. Every once in a while, I go to that search the Epstein files and I look for stuff. It's like a bad guilty pleasure of mine. I'm going to just put in Darkside Phil. Is there going to be anything? No results found for Darkside Phil. Phil Burnell. No results found for Phil Burnell. DSP. No results found. You are fake news, Chad Wellington, but we'll take the $2. Thank you. I had to check. I don't know, right? We need another crossover with you and PPP. Whenever he's willing to do it, I'm willing to do that. Let's continue. Here we are, 25 minutes in.
And the thing that's interesting to me is numerous archaeologists have told me that he suppresses history.
Well, she did walk off on the last interview, but yeah.
Things such as what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is there a suppression of history in Egypt? And who's doing it?
Well, behind Zahi Hawass, he's just a front man. He's a puppet. Behind him, there's somebody higher up.
That could be true.
Of Egypt itself. No one knows who this.
That could be true. Do you know,
this oligarch or whoever controlling?
I was in a rock band in my early 20s, and we played a lot of all ages shows. So if I ever met a girl, I insisted on seeing ID. Like, people thought I was kidding. I would not take a girl or any girls back to the after party unless they were preferably 21, because we had alcohol there. But yeah, we would check IDs because girls, some of these girls, even today, it's even worse, right? Isn't it worse? Do you ever see a girl that's like, I don't know, 16 and she looks 30, you know? I don't know. I used to check IDs, Scopely CFO. That's what you got to do. Chad Wellington with one for the goal. Can't we just pretend? Just say you believe it, or it sounds like something he could be involved in. Well, I don't know about him being in the Epstein files, but do I believe that maybe Jeffrey Epstein introduced him to a 13-year-old Panda Lee? Yes. Yes, Chad Wellington. He's disgusting and despicable enough that he would do that. I believe that. But thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and being a big show supporter and channel member. Never take anyone's word for it. Yeah, especially in a rock situation, because the all ages shows, there would be like, I'm not kidding you, I swear there was like 13, 14-year-old girls in there and boys in the mosh, and they would mosh and whatever. And the bar area, you had to show ID and like go upstairs to drink at the bar. So I generally tried to meet women upstairs because then I knew that they had ID, right? Troll with one for the goal. Saying DSP is on home repo man's list. Yo, if his bankruptcy is coming, troll. For those unaware, I think Darkside Phil is living off of credit cards again. Yeah. Especially when people get, well, groupies watch Sick. Watch Sick knows because Watch Sick was in a band. There are a lot of groupies at rock shows. And I used to say, Watch Sick, always remember, you're just one show away from your next new girlfriend. I'm not kidding you. But you know what? I was kind of not very kind to a lot of women, and I regretted it later. But it's just like the access you get, and there's always more women. So, like, if a girl was pissing me off or whatever, I'd just dump her and go to the next show and get a new girlfriend. There was always all these women around. And, yeah, they get horned up at the rock show. You got to be careful, right? Out of all the grifters, Anjali is the one that baffles me. I can't decide between she had a psychotic episode and really believes herself, or is she a paid actress absolutely lying? Maybe I ought to get her back on the show. We'll see. I think she kind of moved on to doing talking to alien stuff. I don't know. It's sad seeing Ross fail so much. With every episode with total grifters like Carson, bit by bit, whatever credibility he has is getting chipped away. I don't think he had no credibility since he started in UFOs. He's basically fired from 60 Minutes for the most egregiously fake story ever to air on 60 Minutes. Contract not renewed. I'm sorry. Fired. Same thing.
Factor is, but they don't want the world to realize that Egypt was a highly advanced civilization that have achieved the golden age and maybe even achieved space travel.
She's still claiming to meet the ones in the cave.
To know that,
all right.
Because then we're going to question the status quo. And of course, we're going to question religion and everything else. They want us to believe we're just slaves
that to me, Billy. I just
that's
don't
irresponsible,
understand why
TJ Felony.
to suppress that, because I agree with you.
Right.
I mean, I don't doubt it for a moment. I've been to Egypt myself a few times, and I've seen and spoken to people who've told me that their discoveries they've been told they'll never come back to Egypt again if they publish what they've got.
Yeah. No,
come on.
I've been threatened as well.
You can publish anything you want. Now Billy Carson's getting threatened by Egyptian officials. This is just like the Men in Black are trying to kill me, like David Wilcock grift, Corey Good kind of grift, Lou Elizondo kind of grift. Oh, I'm in such danger. I got to have all these dogs and guns at my house.
Oh,
no, you're not.
I had Secret Service, Egyptian Secret Service follow me around and shut me up from talking to my group sometimes. I've had all kinds of
Egyptian Men in Black. Oh, no.
They don't want the world to know because, you see, religion is a multi-trillion-dollar control system. And it brings in a lot of money, and it allows people to sacrifice and give everything that they've got towards that cause. And people behind the scenes.
No, that was Sarah Adams.
Leaders,
Anjali is a really old story.
People under
actually,
level of control.
Anjali was my first really big story in UFO land. And for those unaware, she's a former Defense Intelligence Agency Air Force woman with a very impressive government resume that claimed that she met aliens in this secret underground alien tunnel. And then I found the guy who owned the property with the so-called tunnel on it. And we proved that there was no tunnel, that she never met aliens, and that basically she was on a bunch of drugs, including Rick Simpson oil and antidepressants and a bunch of other stuff. And the guy who owned the property basically ripped her story to shred, and we interviewed him. Just search for go to our main channel and hit that search bar, a little magnifying glass, and hit Anjali. That was our first really big story that got us on the map. So, because she was blowing up huge at the time for her stories, and then we proved her stories were all fake. Honestly, the whole situation made me kind of sad.
Them as sheep. If we were to find out that these particular technologies, anti-gravity,
walks it back and relaunches it,
and
yes,
zero-point energy existed, well, then our minds would be completely unlocked and open to wanting to do research.
No, it was after. Nobody really cared when I did the Stanton Friedman interview because I just had a little audio podcast. I got lucky that he did that.
And we don't want to think about anything else. And we better not think about anything else. And if anybody rises above that, they might.
Arlene's posting links to the Anjali story. It's a great story.
First-class space agency, and you're researching zero-point energy.
Yeah.
Why? What motivated that?
Yeah, this is great. So he's asking about First Class Space Agency and Billy Carson researching free energy. But as a journalist, shouldn't Ross Coulthart ask him, how much money did you collect for that? And what did you spend all the money on? And why did your charity for that get revoked? Of course he's not going to do that. Of course he's not going to do that.
Well, you know, I was studying the flower of life, the ancient symbol of the flower of life. Inside the flower of life, there are enough spaces where the circles interconnect to put in 64 tetrahedrons in a three-dimensional format.
This sounds like New Age quantum nonsense to me.
I noticed that where the tetrahedron touch in the center, it creates these vertices, which is like the vector equilibrium. And at the center of that,
look at him using big words.
Based on the mathematics, you should be able to tap into unlimited energy. That the universe itself appears to be this space or this atmosphere, but it's really this seething soup of unlimited power.
Do you believe the United States and possibly other countries are aware of and have broken through to develop ZPE?
Absolutely.
0 point energy.
Because when you look up the patents, all of a sudden you find a lot of patents, and then you find that they've commandeered some of these patents, and then you find out that they've gone and re-engineered some on their own and put their patent in.
It's funny, you know.
I'd like to see the paperwork on that myself.
I'll tell you, Billy, I had a conversation with a scientist.
Keywords, yes.
Developed.
When I touch it, it creates equilibrium.
And he's not gone public. It's not Salvatore Pay, who a lot of people talk about. It's another scientist.
I remember you,
and
I remember.
The time that he was speaking to me, he was going to go public.
Here we go with the shapes.
And then in the time that he was speaking to me, he basically got told to pull his head in. And he was adamant that this was a working technology. And I'm in the situation as a journalist where I can't verify that. I can only really verify it if I can go there, show that there's no energy coming in and there's, you know, gigawatts coming out.
Right.
That's what I'm told exists though.
Yeah.
Why suppress technology like that?
Yeah. Well, because they can't meter it. They think they can't meter it.
And this free energy thing really makes me angry, because Stephen Greer ran a free energy scam as well. And in his free energy scam, he collected $500,000. I'm talking about Stephen Greer now, and he never delivered anything that he promised. What happened to all that money? Nobody knows. Then Stephen Greer grifted another $500,000 to make a film about free energy, and that, I guess, he delivered. But that would mean that Stephen Greer has grifted $1 million off of free energy and delivered no working prototype, no proof that any free energy device works. And when I say that I'm somewhat experienced in free energy devices, I am. I was one of those kids growing up building, radios out of circuits and, parts, electronic parts and circuit boards. I used to get in a lot of trouble because I would pick the trash and I would take like broken TVs out of the trash and desolder like parts out of the circuit boards. But, that's dangerous. And my father would lose his mind, like, oh, what the fuck are you doing in that basement now? But I got interested in, you could look it up. I got interested in free energy devices, and I started buying plans off of eBay as pretty much, a youngster. And I don't know, none of them worked. And they would always blame you for why it didn't work. Chad Wellington with another one for the goal. Thanks for being a member. And thank you for all the support tonight. The MVP of support tonight so far, Chad Wellington, says he just said they touched tips. I agree. It was weird. Crystal power cells. Look that up. Hutchinson. That is one of the most tantalizing things I've ever built. And I played with magnets a lot, Wojcik. You are correct. Trying to build magnetic motors and basically a lot of free energy devices is that you're trying to build a perpetual motion machine, which is impossible according to the laws of physics. And the third law of thermodynamics precludes free energy working. And this is established science, established physics. Free energy is not scientifically possible according to real science. But There are some tantalizing things that you could build, like a little crystal power cell that will light an LED for years on end. That's very tantalizing to me. But when you try to scale those things up, they never work. And I spent probably a few years building these things in my basement, in my garage, and I still have a huge box of parts and stuff. Maybe I should do a show on free energy, right? Laws are meant to be broken. Yeah, well, that's what the promoters of these things, but they've always got something to sell you. Imagine still believing in laws this day and age of lawlessness. Well, good point.
See, the mindset of a person that's understanding how to control civilizations, they only see that they have to use it through power and force. They don't understand that you can do it through love and light. They haven't figured that part out yet. They want to control and work.
Love and light.
Power,
yes, trust the science.
And monetization. But if they really
sometimes that's stupid advice. I agree.
The other side could be not only just as profitable, but even more abundant, because you can free the world, but you can also put parameters in place that allow everyone to live a great life, and you can still live a phenomenal life. You can travel the world, travel the stars, do whatever you want.
Sure.
You can actually do more than you can do now, because right now we're limited.
Now, what do you say?
Yeah, this is the utopia. Everybody that scams on free energy is like, well, we could build a utopian world. You won't have to work anymore because energy will be free. You could heat your home for free. You could have all the, electric toys you want, electric heaters, anything you want, because energy is free. You won't have to work anymore. It's a... Stephen Greer is expert at pushing this utopian free energy. It's a fantasy.
Those probably sitting at home, probably scientific orthodox viewpoint, scoffing and saying, these two guys, they don't know what they're talking about. This is just conspiracy, wacky tinfoil hat nonsense.
Trust the crackpot science.
Okay for them to have that opinion. Everyone can have their own opinion, but you got to remember something is science. Everything starts off as a theory until it's broken or proven.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And the only way
try powering a house on a free energy device.
A lot of understandings, ideologies, and beliefs about how science worked had to get broken down and reconfigured and re-understood, or we wouldn't be here today.
That's the talking point. Yeah, you could boil all the Earth's oceans with a teacup of
the Alcubierre drive,
0 point
warp speed drive,
energy.
Not faster than light. Actually, yeah, faster than light.
Yeah, FTL.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not done yet officially. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We also know that energy from the quantum vacuum, ZPE, 0 point energy, is hypothetically possible.
Yeah.
Do you believe it was achieved?
Who says that's possible? Nobody but crackpots.
Achieved in prior civilizations on this planet?
Oh, I definitely believe so. And the reason why I believe so is because in these ancient texts, it talks about people becoming space refugees, basically. They're leaving the Pleiadian star system. They're fleeing to Orion, Aldebaran, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Sirius. If you look
now he knows where the alien migration pattern is. Like, this is just absolute bullshit. Like, they're fleeing this star system and they're going to this other star system. Says who?
The Dogon tribe in Mali, Africa. They knew about Sirius B, a trinary, one star in a trinary star system, light years away.
It's a great story. This I love.
Right?
It. Yeah.
They knew the orbital patterns and everything of this.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they would
this is not a star system that's visible from Earth.
You can't see it with the naked eye.
They said it in Stargates,
the star that
even,
these
so it must be real.
From to Earth to tell them this, it ran out of fuel. It became a white dwarf. So you definitely can't see that.
You are correct. I believe it is, and
because it's not large enough.
I regret all the time I wasted on it. I could have been building anything else, and that time would have been better spent. But I had to know. I was not content when, like, a science teacher would tell me it's not possible. And they're like, well, there's these eBay plans, right? And there are some things that actually work. Like, for example, you can build a converter that will take in radiant radio waves and convert it to voltage. But the power you generate is so tiny. Those things are tantalizing to me, though. Imagine making millions of dollars a year talking about only things that have not been proven but are theoretically possible, allegedly, right? Have you ever considered that you have been was taught to you to keep you ignorant? Could be, Rex Holes. That's why I tried my best to build a free energy device and was never really able to do it. It depends on what you consider a success. Like, I could build a crystal power cell that would power a little LED with a little added circuit called a Joule Thief for years on end. Is that a successful free energy device? Who knows, right? Where's Wes Huff when you need him? Exactly, right?
a supernova. But the thing is,
so how does a remote nomadic tribe in Africa know about that?
How did they get this information? Someone came and told them. Now, here's why I say faster than light travel existed.
Yeah, and always these people, they all discount the ingenuity of man. How could they have known about this Sirius star? The aliens must have told them. Maybe they discovered it. Who knows? It's a mystery. They always inject the aliens to explain a mystery.
It's light years away. I don't think those people, whoever they were to come talk to this Dogon tribe, took millions of years to get here, traveling with rocket fuel, because rocket fuel just wouldn't work in that distance. They must have had FTL. They must have faster than light travel at some point or in some way, or achieve a percentage of the speed of light to get from that star system to Earth.
Yes. I really don't like some of the stem cell scammers. I don't know how, probably because I'm in autism support groups because of my son on Facebook and other sites, but I get served ads for stem cell therapy for autism. And I'm here to tell you that most of those things are complete and total scams, right? They basically promise you miracles. And you know that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Stormcrow says, all the stem cells in the universe can't regrow Wilcox hair. Yeah. Stem cells, that's another big scam point lately, just like free energy.
In some of those ancient texts, like the Enuma Elish or the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Why isn't it recorded?
Yeah. Or do you believe it is recorded?
Oh yeah, I believe it. You know, if you read the text,
could be.
Hear them talking about
you could be correct. Could be that simple.
A bond, heaven, earth. And in one,
the Europeans told the Dogon tribes about those.
Sumerian pantheon of gods. He says that he can walk from Earth back to his home planet, and from his home planet back to Earth again. And in some of the texts, you also discover in the ancient Egyptian.
Somebody can walk to their home planet from Earth. Great.
Texts where they had these Sabas, S-A-B-A, which means Stargate, and that.
Oh, now we're into this. We're into the Stargates. So far, we've talked about the Bible, ancient texts, how aliens engineered. This is just like a total cavalcade of mixed together nonsense stories from the internet.
They had the ability to walk through these Stargates.
Now we're into Stargates.
They have to hold on to something called a Jed Pillar Ankh.
Yes, and they're completely and totally fake.
A Jed inside, almost like an oscillator.
100%.
And in some way,
fake pseudoscience.
Their frequency was allowed through this gate. And so there's also a crystal discovered in Bosnia, underneath the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia. And in that crystal, which is in a museum,
they're offering hope to the hopeless.
It's written in runes. It says, "We must stand in defense until we can. We must stand in defense until we can get through the Stargates."
Are there moments in the historical record that you're aware of, that ancient knowledge, where it appears there have been non-human beings sharing this planet?
Well, some people say that, Mark.
Yeah, if you look in the
I don't believe
ancient cultures of where now is modern day Iraq. You find,
and it depends on the severity. My son is totally nonverbal,
and they
were mostly
nonverbal culture. The statuettes are located in.
He is on new medication that has seemed to make him a little more verbal. So we're hopeful. We're always trying to find some therapies or new medications to improve his quality of life and ours, along with his.
The British Museum, and these people are ancient people. They know they had a full culture here. And they left behind a lot of statuettes and some really rundown buildings. They look like reptilians.
Yeah, it's complete horseshit. They won't do the tests under real scientific protocols.
Clothes.
Now, what do you
Poor
say
people weren't allowed to wear clothes.
The official Orthodox explanation for that kind of imagery is it's just playing with allegory. You know, they're just using imagery. It's not a real representation of a real being.
When I look at a lot of these ancient cultures, they
now we're in cave paintings.
What a cow looks like, what a bull
cave
looks like.
Painting looks like an Ant-Man. It must be aliens.
And, what
maybe it's just simple mythology, right?
Person looks like. And then all of a sudden you start seeing objects that look like aliens, that look like technology on their body, maybe suits of some type, or these particular reptilian beings, which they carved meticulously into stone.
Billy Meyer is the worst.
I would just have to say, at those time periods, people were worried about taking care of the village, making sure there was food to eat, staying safe, not being attacked. I don't think people had enough time to just lay back, relax, and just start, I'm going to make a sci-fi movie out of this stone. I'm going to, use a cuneiform, and I'm going to take this stylus, this wooden stylus, and write this sci-fi story on this.
Again, this is in the Grifter's playbook. Take an ancient mystery and insert aliens.
Tablet. It just doesn't make sense.
So
I can't
I'm
explain
fascinated with
this,
the
so
Epic
we'll
of
just
Gilgamesh,
insert aliens, and that
the
explains
journalist
everything.
is fascinated with it because there's this one data point that I think you've done a show on recently on your own podcast, Forbidden Knowledge.
Yeah.
And it talked about how a document showed that Hillary Clinton, when she was the Secretary of State, took exceptional interest in the search for the tomb of Gilgamesh. And there is an ongoing conspiracy theory that the real motivation for the invasion of Iraq
to get
was
the
to find
ancient
the tomb of
antiquities and the
Gilgamesh.
Stargate.
Who was Gilgamesh? Why on earth would Hillary Clinton be interested in Gilgamesh?
Well, Gilgamesh
That's probably
was a
likely
massive
true.
being. He
It's
was
called
a human,
narcissistic
half
personality
human, half
disorder.
Anunnaki,
They
or
see
half
their lives on a
Anunnaki,
grand
according to the
scale.
text, not according to
Correct.
me. I'm talking directly from the stone tablet in the British Museum. He was half God, half man. He was a giant. Brilliant person, very wise, high level of knowledge. But he was on a quest for immortality because
It's called mythology for a reason. They're myths.
his
A myth and history are not the same thing.
ancestors had achieved immortality, according to him, and he was on this quest for immortality. It's really the full story of Noah, because he meets Ziusudra in this story, who is Noah in the biblical text, who's building the ark.
So a lot of the let's be polite about this. A lot of the stories and
Turning up the grift knob, that is correct.
Reflections of what has been done thousands of years previously.
Exactly.
Oh, I hope you have a
It's
good
parallel
day
to
at
what
work,
it is.
Ambergeddon.
But
And thanks for tuning in while you're working.
initially he had
Glad we
found
could keep you
this,
company.
he got some instruction where to find this one plant, which was in the bottom of this lake, and he got it. And then somehow he ended up slipping out of his hand.
Peter Dome News.
But
do you know, I was once offered a pass. I might be able to get you a pass, but I don't know. I've been talking a lot of shit about Conscious Life Expo. So I think that offer to give me a free pass to get in might be rescinded. Yeah, I think mythology is interesting, but you can't just take a myth and pretend that it's real history without evidence that it's real history.
I think they really want to find his.
But I do think there's a seed of truth in a lot of mythology. In other words, you know, stories of demigods and the Nephilim may have some basis in reality. Who knows, right? But we need scientific evidence and proof. You can't just declare mythology history.
To see if they can do a DNA test.
Do you think they did?
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did. They went to Iraq under the auspices of this WMD, but what they did was they pulled out an object out of the ziggurat of Ur. I had a friend of mine on that mission.
Well, we got about a half hour, Ambergeddon, maybe a little longer.
I put online years and years ago inside of one of my Anunnaki Facebook groups of the military American soldiers on the
if
ziggurat.
You say so, I don't know.
A double-wide Hummer type truck.
Kerry Cassidy can get me in.
Device or stone thing on the back. It looked like the same Stargates spinning stone. It pulled off with a tarp on it, never saw it again.
This is really interesting.
They found a Stargate in Iraq and it pulled off with a tarp over it. And nobody saw it again. Source, my asshole.
I was waiting for you to say that because I get told a lot of things as a journalist, especially because I've got a particular interest in UFOs and the fact that there is this secret covert program where the US is going around retrieving technology. And I'll be honest, I don't often give it much credit.
I got a scar on my face, and it's a stupid story. I used to tell people that I got stabbed in the face watching when people would ask how I got the scar. Dog bite.
2 or 3
dog bit me in the face.
Independently, that there
I
was a Stargate recovered.
18 stitches.
Part of what was the US's
right in my
motivation
face here.
was for going into Iraq.
Yeah, because Saddam was learning how
I could stick my tongue out of my head without using my mouth for a short time.
His new museum that he had just built with all the information that can prove.
Yeah, well, listen, the problem is that sometimes I get offered to go to different places like Contact in the Desert or Conscious Life Expo, and traveling for me is very difficult because my nonverbal autistic son, he really only listens to me and I'm his primary caretaker. So to get somebody to cover for me with him for a few days even is near impossible. He just doesn't listen to anybody but me. Well, he listens to my wife too, but you know, I don't know. I loved watching Billy get felted by Wes Huff. Yeah. I think we're going to rebroadcast that episode this weekend.
Advanced civilization and an ancient airport, according to his minister of travel, who came public with this. Minister of Transportation of Iraq, went public. You can look it up and listen to the whole thing. That the original advanced civilization was here in Iraq, and there was an advanced airport with beings flying and everything and landing here in Iraq, and they were going to expose all of this.
Spaceships.
Yeah. This is a public thing that
bitten by a crocodile. Actually, it was a BMX crash.
Transportation of Iraq.
Okay, Billy, help me here, because the thing I have a trouble with.
Yes, Grifting Con Artist Convention, GCC,
I've gone from
GCAC,
right, to knowing there's a cover-up. But the thing I wrestle with is why? Why not bring the world incredible knowledge, this exciting knowledge?
I do my best. You know, I gave up.
Puts everybody on the same.
I gave up. When we got his diagnosis, we quickly learned that he'd need 24/7 supervision, and you can't just have a regular babysitter. So I pretty much gave up everything just to make sure that he always had whatever, you know. It's very stressful sometimes. Some days he drives me crazy. You know, it's very difficult. Just imagine living with a human being that can't communicate his needs or wants, and you have to constantly guess, or he has big meltdowns and screaming fits and throws things. And unfortunately, my son's getting real big. He's 13. He's almost as big as me now. He's, you know, I think he's got to be 5'6", 5'8". You know, I'm 6'2". He's almost as big as me.
Same playing field, and the people at the top don't.
Today he was wearing one of my shirts, like a sweater of mine. I think my wife confused my shirt for his. That's how big he's getting.
If all of a sudden we come up with this, we understand that this technology exists and we know how to reproduce it, or people start figuring out how to reproduce it. Now somebody living in a third world country can live at the same level as a person like you and I living in America or Europe or whatever.
Oh, free energy and Stargates, yes.
We're still living on fossil fuels, ground up bits of dinosaurs from 300 million years ago.
Right.
Surely there's a better technology than that, and surely that's
absolutely.
ZPE.
I mean, I can't believe we're still using combustion engines in 2026. It's ridiculous.
It's
scary how ridiculous it is.
Well, that I will agree with him on. I think combustion... I hate gasoline engines.
But all of a sudden, if the world starts getting...
Mostly because I can't work on them. I like electric motors.
The same level technologically and energy-wise and water-wise, all of a sudden we're all in the same playing field. And who's the big boss over everyone? At any moment, another country or another region can rise up, and they could be the ones that somehow take control.
What are the Emerald Tablets?
The Emerald Tablets are writing done by Thoth, the Atlantean priest king. And according to the ancient Egyptians...
No, they were not written by Thoth, the Atlantean priest king. They were channeled by a New Age scammer.
From
and we've covered all of this. He's completely and totally factually wrong, or at least he's only telling you part of the story. They're purported to be written by that person, right, in ancient Egypt.
Dynastic era. He ruled over the land of ancient Kemet for 16,000 years, one man. That's what the ancient Egyptians say.
So he lived for 16,000.
No, the ancient Egyptians don't say that. The Grifter who wrote that book says that.
He ruled for 16,000. He lived much longer than that.
Really?
In these tablets, which he authored that, and he also authored the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, which is located at Cambridge in the UK. And the other text, as I was told by Timothy Hogan, is now located in the archives underneath the Vatican.
Oh, you know what? I could be wrong because there's two different sources for this Thoth information. One of them comes from a grifter. One of them may be a little more credible.
The rest of the tablets.
It strikes me that the Catholic Church knows a lot about this.
Oh, yeah, they know all about this stuff. And in this text, he talks about being able to see civilizations rise and fall. And he has these places located in Egypt called the Halls of Amenti. And he says one of them is underneath the bedrock located at Giza, which is where they found this underneath open area with all these huge columns going down, and LiDAR scans show energy moving back and forth. Yeah. And he says that he would go into these Halls of Amenti for two reasons. One, there was a portal.
Now we got a portal to go along with the Stargate.
There were these stone boxes in
yes, there. It's underneath the Vatican.
Yeah. Which are radioactive, by the way, because it took my Geiger counter with me to Egypt and found out the radioactivity was higher than background level. And he would put bodies in them. He would transfer his mind into new bodies.
Where's the aliens? All they ever do is talk.
Inside of one of these diorite crystal chambers for 100 years, according to the text, while he walked amongst men, but unlike a man, ruling in different places or another. In China, he was Wang Di, the first emperor. He was Thoth the Mabi in Australia to the Aboriginals. He's Thoth in Egypt, but throughout other parts of Africa, Tahuti and Jehuti. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan, potentially.
He was
Lord
all
Pakal,
these things at
Viracocha.
once.
So he's been all over the place. And everywhere he goes, he's bringing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and teaching mankind how to, in his words, how to become the light.
So is it a benevolent intelligence, do you think?
He was benevolent, which is why I loved his work and I loved researching him, because he did not masquerade as a god. And he had an instance in the text where he had a chance to be a god to the people. He landed his skyship in Kemet, ancient Kemet.
And this is described in the text.
In the opening
the wooden tablets of Atum and the ruby tablets of Nut are much better read.
I mean, what else could that be?
Now he's just name dropping.
And as he sees the people of Kemet beneath him, so
just gibberish, man. Just
and the
gibberish.
doors open up and he comes out with his crew, and the people of ancient Kemet come to hit him and attack him with cudgels and spears.
So hold on one second.
He raised his staff and sent out a ray of vibrations.
I want to just clear up the confusion because Billy Carson threatens to sue everybody. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean are a complete 20th century fabrication, a pseudo-historical hoax with zero ancient origins. But there's some confusion because there is a real historical text called the Emerald Tablet, singular. And it is a short cryptid alchemical passage that first appears in Arabic manuscripts from the 8th to 9th century CE. It was attributed to Hermes, and it exists in medieval manuscripts and was translated into Latin in the 12th century, influencing European alchemy. But the source of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which is what Billy Carson is constantly promoting, it was written and or, depending on who you ask, translated by Maurice Durrell, a pseudonym for an American occultist and former store clerk with no Egyptological training. In 1930, he founded the Brotherhood of the White Temple, a small theosophical style cult in Colorado, and he later moved around. He churned out pamphlets on Atlantis, UFOs, underground races, and Gobi mysteries. So there's some conflation of one real historical text, right, with this channeled work from the 1930s. And interesting, you know, you can still get these books on Amazon. So there's some reasons why this Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean is completely fake. There's no physical or archaeological evidence whatsoever. Ancient Egyptians did not write on large emerald tablets and more. He borrowed heavily from H.P. Lovecraft. Hounds of the Barrier directly rips off another book, The Hounds of Tindalos from 1929, Creatures That Move Only Through Angles, Follow Souls. Serpent-headed shape-shifting aliens, men who infiltrate councils, straight from Lovecraft's The Nameless City from 1921, and other influences like Theosophy, Blavatsky's Atlantis Lemuria, Frederick Oliver's A Dweller on Two Planets, The Shaver Mystery, Underground Races, Hollow Earth Theories. So, it's a book from 1930, and he's basically saying that this is an ancient manuscript, which is completely and totally inaccurate. It's a channeled work of nonsense. It's fiction.
Stopping them still as fragments of stone in the mountain. So this is a non-lethal weapon. So he didn't try to kill him.
Sure.
He stopped him.
And, you know, I am going to rebroadcast. We did an incredible debunk of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I'm going to rebroadcast that because here's the problem. Once we do like a really good deep dive debunk of something, I just put it out of my brain. I gotta it's like I have to defrag my hard drive. I have to get old information out. So, you know, I apologize if I'm light on the facts and evidence. We'll post that debunk this weekend as a replay. so that you could see that these things that Billy Carson has spent years and years and years promoting and profiting from are complete and total horse shit.
When he got to them and released them from that beam, he started showing them that he had magic science.
So this is how, I'm just trying to think of this in the context of Star Trek. It could almost be.
Yeah, so much goes right back to the Blavatsky.
Stun weapon.
And how would a civilization represent that? They represent that exactly as you've just described.
Yes.
You are correct.
Oh my God, he came
La
down
Costa
with this giant
Vampa.
ship.
Lovecraft and Howard have
they
inspired
groveled at his
conspiracy
feet.
theories for a long time.
No, stand up. I'm a son of Atlantis, and I'm here to bring you back up to a high level of civilization.
Sylvia Brown predicted all this, which is why you know it's not true.
They've forgotten the knowledge.
Okay, Billy, here's the big question. You said they. There's obviously an elite that you ascribe to being responsible for this.
Right.
Who is this elite? What are they? Who are they?
It's the Illuminati.
The ancient text called the Anuna, which is the original name before the name Anunnaki.
Oh, now you got to mix in the Anunnaki.
The knitters.
But I'm talking about who's responsible for suppressing this history
Oh,
now.
the people who believe.
I thought he dropped the hard end. He said knitters,
That's
not.
who it is. And we're talking about big names. I don't know if you want me to mention it on your show, but these are big names. These are big families. One of the families is worth a combined $700 trillion.
And do you believe all this? I mean, this.
I agree, Mark.
The hard-nosed journo in me.
It's a big rabbit hole, Blavatsky.
Have you seen evidence?
I've never done a show on her.
If you
because I can't get through all the research you need to do.
Start to realize.
If anybody, I interviewed poor Virginia Giuffre when I worked for Australian 60 Minutes, and actually no, it wasn't for Australian 60 Minutes. It was another show, but she was amazing. She was such a strong woman.
I don't know.
She suffered so much, and people didn't believe her. They just completely ignored the poor girl.
Sylvia Brown is a complete fraud. We felt at her badly in one of our previous episodes.
Pretty bad, yeah.
And now we see these horrific crimes coming out.
It's horrific, and it's a big club, and we're not in it.
Yeah.
And this club is extensive, and the things that they were into were levels of corruption off the charts. Besides unaliving babies and everything else that they were doing.
Do you believe all that?
Oh yeah, it's totally.
Oh no, they're killing babies now.
One of the
unaliving.
At UCLA,
sorry.
Another gynecologist in America, right here.
Yep.
No, we've never done a show on Edgar Casey because that's another one that's so hard to research at all. Edgar Casey left behind the equivalent of like hundreds of thousands of pages of predictions.
How do we expose it then? I mean, here you are, you're going back as a child.
They had big balls. Anunnaki had huge genitals. Yes, they were giants, right?
Yeah.
And you've confirmed and you've educated yourself about this incredible alternative history. Mm-hmm. How does humanity come out of that and overcome that suppression, if that's really the case?
Well, one thing, I use what's going on now as a catalyst. I went on a podcast and said, look, this is our only chance. Either we look at this thing, this exposure of not only the government in the United States, but the world leaders and all the people that we saw in positions of power everywhere and see what they're up to.
One thing interesting from the Epstein files, Bill Gates had to apologize and say he banged some Russian girls and cheated on his wife several times. So I believe there's a lot of nonsense in those Epstein files, but there's also a lot of truth. So use your discernment and, be very careful though. But it's interesting that Bill Gates was banging Russian girls while he was married, that Epstein allegedly or apparently hooked him up with. And one of them gave him chlamydia, and then he had to get like medication to give his wife on the down low. He didn't want his wife to know that he got chlamydia.
Behind the scenes. And we take
he got the clap
of saying,
from the Russian hooker.
We're not going to stand for this anymore. The most important thing is for mankind.
No proof they were girls. Oh yeah.
The general population.
Yeah, he didn't really specify.
Race, creed, color, religion, and all these things. Just come together, love one another, recognize.
Just weave in a fact every once in a while,
and realize that we're the ones that they're working for.
Exactly.
We have hired them to work for us. They're public servants, and look what they're doing to us.
Yes, penicillin.
They tricked us and have us thinking that we work for them, when it's actually the opposite way around. We've got to change our vibration, our frequency, as within, so within.
Oh, you got to change your frequency.
That's allowing it to happen.
I want to talk to you about the pyramids because I'm fascinated by that whole Giza plateau. And we've spent a lot of time there as well with the other. What do you think they were for? I mean, the official narrative from the Egyptian government.
Listen, George Norrie basically replaced Art Bell in that space. And what a fuck, George Snorri Norrie. He's so boring and so hard to listen to. I don't know how he got that gig. Like, at least I'll say this: George Knapp has a good radio voice. Snorri, not so much, right? Imagine having $100 billion and having to resort to Epstein to meet chicks. Yeah.
Is that the pyramids were the burial places of the pharaohs.
Yeah.
And yet, as far as I mean, this is a shock for me.
Yeah.
They're not sarcophagi.
No. No.
And there's no hieroglyphics.
Yeah, these two are
inside the
pointless.
pyramid. There is in the Valley of the Kings where they were buried.
Right.
What were the pyramids for?
The pyramids were a multifunctional
That's weird,
system.
Scopely. Really?
The ones at Giza, multifunctional stone computers. And also...
Gibman has been a member for 5 months. Thank you for that. You get a free super chat. And he used it to say, suffer, Snorri, Nori.
No doubt about it.
Thank you for being a member. Thank you for the support.
Nile, it meandered away now. But when it ran up...
All right, Amber, get his home. Now it's a party. We'll settle in. We're just going to finish up.
Still there. I've been down there.
Sure.
Now, when you have...
You keep saying the Geyser Plateau, yes.
Piezoelectric effect.
Exactly. So you get that piezoelectric effect. And you can see the resonating rods going up the Grand Gallery.
Resonating rods, piezoelectric.
The slots are there, but the rods are gone. Going into the Grand Gallery, now you're in this chamber. It's like a cold fusion chamber. And then if you look at the box that's in the King's Chamber now, it's a rose granite box. It's not an original piece of that part of the pyramid. You can even see where it was moved from the center of the room. You can see the scuff marks in the base and the floor where it's moved to now kind of off-centered. If you take the measurements of that in cubits, you realize it's the same exact size for the interior of the Ark of the Covenant.
Total bullshit. Yeah, let's connect the dots. Yeah. It's connected to the Ark of the Covenant.
Used to sit right in that box. Why? When the water started moving away.
All right, listen, there's no proof that the Ark of the Covenant ever made its way to Egypt, let alone ancient Egypt. So he's saying that the pyramids were built to house the Ark of the Covenant. You know, way to mix a bunch of different ancient mysteries together to entertain retarded people on the internet.
Broke the power function for the pyramid. What better piece to put there than something that was an ultimate power source? Like the Ark.
He's got a resonating rod in his drawer.
What your big dream was to discover. Is the Ark of the Covenant one of those?
Oh, I tried. I've been looking. I went to the Elephantine Island.
Have you been to Ethiopia? We've been to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Have you climbed that ridiculous tower in Ethiopia, the cliff where they allegedly store the Ark?
Yeah, it's gone from there. It's been taken. Yeah. But there's one in Elephantine Island still.
It's alleged by Graham Hancock that the Ark of the Covenant ended up in a church in Ethiopia. And there is some weird stuff, like the caretakers go blind. Every caretaker goes blind or they get cancer, and people are alleging that's because of radiation coming off the Ark, but nobody's ever seen it inside the sacred place they keep it. They won't let anybody see it. So who knows?
Really?
Yeah. Germany has been digging for 21 years, 7 days a week. And they're paying every day, by the way. They're paying for that. They know
his knowledge of Ark of the Covenant comes from watching Indiana Jones.
Was sitting with the stone.
He knows everything.
The electromagnetic signature of the Ark, and I've touched the actual podium that it sat on.
Do you feel guided in the work you're doing?
Yeah,
space gods are from Egypt.
For me. There's something in me.
I'm prodding you here. Yeah. Have you become more spiritual the more you've got into this? You've realized there is a there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. I mean, I got even more spiritual 2024. In 2024, I got pneumonia in Turkey. I was on a tour. I took people on tour in Turkey. And
this was right before he got felted by Wes Huff.
I came down with a very severe case of pneumonia. I thought I might have just had a cold or something, and it got worse and worse until I lost 30 pounds in the 10 days we were there. Got back to America, and I died.
Well, they don't got a lot of food in Ethiopia, so I don't blame them.
But in that time, I crossed over, and I was in this most amazing place.
Now he had a near-death experience.
4K, it was 8K, right? I didn't have glasses on. I can see my hands and my feet, so I clearly had a body, but I didn't have any clothes on. And I was looking at this forest.
Now he had a near-death experience.
In the forest, and I was instantly taken to the clearing because I thought about it. But my feet never touched the ground. And then something came and showed me this holographic photo book, is all I can kind of name it, with hominid faces going back millions of years, and they were like flipping back and forth, like, I mean, so fast.
Oh, this is getting thick now.
I don't know what it meant or what it was, but it was.
Now he died, and he's got a great near-death experience story to throw in right at the end.
And I got the feeling like I could just stay here and explore forever. And then some disembodied voices said, you can stay here or you can go back. And I said I wanted to go back. And when it came out, I was back in my body again.
So when you did go back, what did you resolve to investigate? Like, what's Billy Carson's dream? What's the mystery you want to solve?
Free money for life from grifting, from retards on the internet. That's his dream.
Invention, which just got patent pending. And it's an invention called the 4BK BioKey. And it came out of that because I realized that I had a second chance to impact people here in a positive way, and that my mission here wasn't done. In order for me to complete my mission here, I need to extend my life. And so I was looking for a technology. My mind was looking for a technology that could have told me.
Now he knows the secret to immortality. So he just had a near-death experience, and now he's patenting a device to give him immortality. Like, at some point, you just have to say, shut the fuck up, you grifting scumbag, liar, loser.
Hey, you're pretty sick. A non-invasive way of saying, you have pneumonia, you need to go to the hospital. When you're out in the desert, you don't have any way of knowing these types of things. And so I developed a technology based on human breath, just like the key of life, the Ankh, which is on the actual
the key of
when
life.
You exhale, you have VOCs in your breath, volatile organic compounds. And they can read up to, they have data up to 1,000 different things wrong in the body.
Now he's inventing, I'm sorry, he's not inventing the key to immortality. I thought that's where he was going. He's inventing medical technology that could diagnose you by just analyzing your breath.
And even right in the body too. And so I developed a device that you can breathe into, and it will tell you if you have pneumonia, COVID, a flu, rectal cancer.
How's all of that?
You can find out if you've got ass cancer from his new invention. I can't wait to breathe on it and make sure I don't have ass cancer.
EPE generator coming along.
Well, that's a project. That's my one coming in behind this one. I finally got so I rolled up for first class space up under forbidden knowledge. So all my inventions are now rolled up under forbidden knowledge. And then I just went into a reverse merger with
all his inventions.
Just completed yesterday. The press release went out into Belrose Capital. And now I'm a publicly traded company.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, so I'm on the stock exchange. So now now these projects are about to go crazy out here. You have no idea what's going. People have no idea what's coming now.
Yeah. What about his streaming network? That was a big thing that he wanted people to invest in. Now he's got another thing that he wants to be publicly traded for people to invest in. It's like an empire built on total bullshit.
But Billy, of course, if you do start getting close to cracking 0 point energy, the men in black are going to turn up and tell you to go home. And
open source. That, my friend, is going open source.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Billy Carson, I wish you the very best of luck. I love the story of a 12-year-old boy who was lying in bed reading the Enuma Elish, dreaming big. And you've achieved so much.
The Enuma Elish, what is that?
Thank you very much for sharing your story with Reality Check, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me grift with you. Amber Gettin with one for the goal. Saying, suffer Billy Coulthart. Professor Dave does an awesome felting of Billy too. Praise the cash. Yeah, we're gonna check into mine and see if I can't edit out all the the Wesley Huff Bible debunking that Wes did and just give you the Emerald Tablets of Thoth debunking. I didn't think anybody could Thank you, Amber Gettin. Much, much appreciated. Big show supporter, Amber Gettin, and a YouTube channel member. God bless you. Al Garay, I didn't think anyone could outgrift David Wilcock, but this guy is giving him a run for his money. Yeah, it is correct. He was previously known as William Tyrone Carlson with a criminal record in Broward County, Florida, related to predatory business practices. I have to be very careful. This is what I uncovered, that he pled no contest. I once mistakenly said that he was convicted. Technically, he pled no contest to charges, criminal charges, and then the record of his arrest and conviction, I suppose, were expunged. He got a special deal from the judge. This is very common. In my state, it's called ARD, where they'll say, if you plead no contest or guilty, we'll sentence you to probation. And if you get through the probation, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, we'll expunge the record of your arrest so you won't have a criminal record. Billy Carson is very touchy about people getting the facts right in that situation. So La Costa Vampa, that's your opinion, and we're sharing it as your opinion. But to my knowledge, he pled no contest. His lawyer corrected me. I once said he pled guilty, and I have apologized for that. And I apologize for calling him a convicted fraud felon, because technically he is not a convicted felon. He got a special deal with the prosecutor, the judge, whatever. He completed his probationary period, and the record of the arrest and whatever was expunged. So he is technically not a convicted criminal. Not that I'm aware of. Who's your favorite grifter? It's so hard to choose, but I really like David Wilcock, but David Wilcock is getting boring lately because his whole grifts keep coming crashing down, and he's getting boring and depressed, and he's not really telling the funny fakery anymore. You know, he's being very cautious because he knows that I'm watching him and ripping his grifts to shreds as soon as he puts them out. It was something like that, Tim Curley, but I don't want to get into the specifics of Billy Carson's one-time arrest or anything like that, because Billy Carson is what we would call a litigious individual. He threatens to sue people a lot. And, in my case, I deserved it. I will say that. I got my facts wrong. And when a journalist gets their facts wrong, they should apologize. So I apologized. And if he never heard the first apology, then I'll say it here. I apologize to Billy Carson for incorrectly stating that he was a convicted fraud felon. I've already, verbalized what happened there to the best of my knowledge or recollection after being corrected and having somebody who is an expert on criminal records. Like I said, he got arrested for something. He pled no contest. He completed a probationary period, and the record, the conviction or whatever, was expunged. So technically, he is not a convicted felon or a convicted criminal, as best as I recall. But that fact does not excuse all the other shady stuff. I will be the first to say that Billy Carson should have to answer a lot of questions, like what happened to all the money that you collected when you ran a charity and never filed your 990 federal forms, and then your charity was revoked? What happened to all that money? What did you do with the money? These are questions he should have to answer publicly, but I don't believe he ever will. It's not in his best interests, right? And now he appears to be rebooting the free energy thing, which is interesting that he would reboot that. But I guess if there's no consequences when you do it the first time, you do it again. That's Stephen Greer did it. Stephen Greer grifted something like, to the best of my knowledge and recollection, $500,000, telling everybody he was going to create a free energy project. It was called Stephen Greer's Orion Project. Then Stephen Greer basically said that somebody ran off with all the money. He never delivered anything. He waited years and years and years, and then he grifted another $500,000 to make a film about free energy, which is interesting. So questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. I want to take a moment again, remind you, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and never miss a thing. It's a big, huge boost to our channel, and we appreciate every single one of you that is doing that. Let me try to find my proper bumpers here too. We're trying to do what is generally considered among content creators best practices, and one of the things I'm light on is letting people know how to support the show. We are now broadcasting to 2 different Facebook locations, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Kick, all simultaneously. And most of our support comes through YouTube, but many of you are watching in other areas, so I'm supposed to let you know how you can support the show. The show is not over. I'll be taking comments and questions from the live chat right after these words about how you can support our show.
Truth Seekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support.
Sorry about that. So we are back. I will be taking comments and questions from the live chat. Please put them in all capital letters or not. It really does help if you put them in all capital letters, because then I know right away that you want me to share and respond to your comment. And I do happen to be visually impaired. Somebody sent me a message, and I don't know if they were making fun of me or just concerned. Somebody said that my appearance has shifted dramatically since my medical situation, and so I just want to address that. A few people have commented to me like, what's going on? What happened to the jet black hair? And I just haven't cared. Honestly, I was more concerned with my health than my appearance for the past several months. But I have an appointment to get that. I'm going to get a haircut and get back in black, right? Which I vastly prefer, especially on the side where that gray's coming in from my children, right? Stephen, what are your thoughts on Sierra Neblina? Have you ever had a chance to look at the charlatan self-proclaimed SSP experiencer? Yes, I have, Miller Man, and she looks like a really bad copy of Corey Good. Almost like she's copying every Corey Good nonsense story. I looked into her a little bit. See, the problem with some of these people, Miller Man, is that if they don't have a huge following, I can't do a show on them, because unless it's really like good, you know. Some of these super soldiers are so funny, even if they don't have a huge following, I cover them. But we have to punch up. So in other words, we want people that have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, so that when we do a show exposing them, at least some people tune in. The problem is that some of these people have I don't know what Sabrina Neblina, I'm going to look her up right now, but I think she was on my too small to cover kind of a list, if that makes sense. You know, like, let me check. Sierra Neblina, I'm sorry. Let's take a look at her channel. That'll probably, yeah, she's getting 2,000 views a video. That's not somebody that I really want to spend time covering. Interview of her recently there's an interview of her from 2 years ago that got 164 views. So I can't spend so much time on people like her. Do you know what her actual channel is? Because I just searched by name, and you know, I'm finding interviews of her, but not her actual. Oh wait, I found her channel. Sierra Neblina. There's a Sierra Neblina channel that has 131 subscribers. That may explain why I've never covered her. You know, we have to cover big grifters, not small-time grifters. Do you think any of the TGE grifters would actually come on Truth Seekers and try to defend themselves? Listen, here's what I'll say. We have an open door policy, and this is the policy. If I do a show on you, or if I make fun of you, or if I do a show exposing what I think is your scam or your grift, You're welcome to come on and defend yourself. So far, I've had nobody really take me up on that, with very few exceptions, right? The mysterious Texas Tesla Tower is a 190-foot tall, 20-story experimental tower constructed in 2018 by Yves Technologies near Milford, Texas. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know is that somebody trying to recreate Wardenclyffe? Yeah, we're trying to fry base, not minnows. That's a very good way to put it, Broken Hip. So listen, I apologize if you guys want me to cover somebody certain that you have found, but unless they have a big following, it's kind of a waste of time for us, because I'll do a show and I'll get, one $5 super chat from the one person that wants me to do that. We've got to go with people. I prefer to go with people that have millions of subscribers, so that people are actually, that tells me people are interested in that person and would enjoy seeing them exposed, right? Beth would be a great interview. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad and I'm sorry if I get messages all the time, and some, like people for a while were sending me messages about who's the Hitler guy? He's like a Asian fellow, Douglas Dietrich. I was getting messages about him, and then I looked in on him, and he was getting like 40 live viewers. Like, I can't cover a guy like that who's getting 40 live viewers. We have to punch up. Trolly troll troll with one for the goal. Have you got any of your fishing trips planned yet? Looking forward to seeing photos of the catch. Yes. For those unaware, my whole family and we have a cabin in the Poconos that is around many different lakes and streams, and there's great trout fishing in the area and more. And every year we have a fishing tournament, and whoever catches the most fish through the whole season, usually late spring to early fall, we give a trophy to. And my youngest son usually wins because he never stops fishing. He takes his fishing rod everywhere with him. If we go to the lake to go swimming, he spends half his time fishing. And we post pictures of them. Yes, Trolly Troll Troll. And there's a place called Hickory Run, which we haven't fished at. I found 4 more lakes that me and my son haven't fished at that are all within 20, 25-minute ride from the cabin, or less, some of them. So there's a place called, I can't remember. It's a funny name for a lake, like Tangle Lake or something like that. And they named it that way because there's so much brush that people's fishing lines get tangled. We found a bunch of new fishing spots that we're going to hit this year. And thank you, Troll Troll Troll, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. And yes, we'll be posting, just like always, if somebody catches a fish, we post a picture of it on my Twitter, or Facebook, Instagram. So we'll be doing that again. I'm looking forward to spring. It looks like one more week and the whole winter shit will be over with. And what do we have? Days until spring. All right, I have my spring countdown. 21 days until spring. 21 days, 12 hours, 37 minutes, and 19 seconds. 17 seconds. Can't come quick enough for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I had the worst winter since I moved here to the Philadelphia suburbs. And it's just been snow after snow after snow. And usually here where I live, if it snows, a big storm for us would be 4 or 5 inches. And then in a week, it melts and it's gone. So it doesn't feel like endless winter. But this last 6 weeks have been rough. We got 18 inches like 3-4 weeks ago, and now we just got 14 inches. And I'm just starting to see grass again. And what pissed me off the last time, we just got this last storm this past weekend. It was just starting to all melt off, and then we got 1.5 inches coming on. Well, I could take 1.5 inches. That an 1.5 inches snow doesn't bother me. 14 inches bothers me. I have to shovel out the whole driveway, and then they come and plow the street, and they shove that shit all back in my driveway. So I have to shovel that mountain away, and then I have to clean off the cars and shovel the driveway again. I don't know if you've seen these, but there's a new trend now with these portable electric shovels. It's like a mini snowblower. My wife got one, and she's big on gadgets, and I hate it when she buys a new gadget because half the time they don't work as advertised. But that electric shovel really does help. Yes, Wilcock can take one more than 1.5 inches. That's correct. Sleeping is so much easier when it's winter. If you say so, yeah, it's quieter during winter. But I, for one, have had enough. So 22 more days until official spring. But really, it looks like one more week, and then it's going to be 50, 55 here. I can't wait for spring. For those unaware, I'm in the middle of building a new cabin in the middle of the woods. It's called a hideaway cabin because there's a private road into it. It's nothing but woods for miles in all directions, no neighbors. And I'm 3/4 of the way finished building the cabin. I got a little more work to do on the one side wall, and then I got to put a roof and a floor on it, and we'll be good to go. Maria here with one for the goal. Long ago, it was predicted in the Emerald Tablets, you will receive money. That is correct. That is definitely correct. Yes, thank you, Maria. Maria has fulfilled the prophecy of Thoth and sent me money, just as the prophecy predicted. Imagine that. Maybe Billy Carson was right about those fucking tablets. Thank you, Maria, for your kindness, generosity, and continued support of the show. Much, much appreciated. Garaji, I hate you. He says it was 86 today. Wadzik says you got to have a True Seekers campout party when it's done. I plan on that. I don't know if my wife likes this idea. She's like, you're just going to have a bunch of fucking morons that you don't know come and camp. I'm like, yeah, they're okay, right? We've had a few people up to the cabin, but those were usually like other show hosts that I knew a little bit. But we're going to open it up. But I hope you like bears because there's a lot of bears there. There is a whole lot of bears there. I'm buying a shotgun. I finally decided I've been looking for a gun because of the bear situation there. And just to be clear, I never want to shoot a wild animal. But when you're talking about bears, that could kill you. So we want to be well protected. I already have bear mace, bear spray and a siren. Usually I just make noise and they turn around and go the other way. Last time that a bear came really close to the cabin, he wasn't backing down. So I took a pot and a skillet that I had and just started slamming them together and yelling at it. And it did turn around and go the other way. But apparently there is my nearest neighbor who's like a mile or two from me in the woods up the road. He, really up the trail, I guess. He feeds the bears every day. He puts out like whole boxes of cereal for them. Apparently they like Captain Crunch. So every time I'm there, I see bears every single time. And a couple of people say, why aren't you taking pictures? Because I'm usually concerned with what the bear is doing to take out my phone and worry about pictures. I learned my lesson. A long time ago, we had a bear at the other cabin, and I was so busy taking pictures that I got charged by a bear. And that's a scary experience, especially, 400 or 500 pound bear. I don't know how many pounds, but big black bear. Show the bear a picture of Corey Good. Gone, baby, gone. Yeah. So I don't know. We're putting up a lot of trail cams this year, though. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to get some really good videos and pictures of bears. I'll be posting those. Is bear spray effective? Many wildlife experts say that the bear spray is more effective of a deterrent than a gun. Because it irritates their eyes, nose, and throat, and they don't like that. So I don't know. I got one of the best bear sprays that you could get, highly rated on Amazon. I keep it with me just in case, but I don't even want to spray that at a bear if I don't have to. I don't want to hurt them. After all, I'm kind of invading their home there in the woods, right? Need some pictures of Bigfoot. Yes, Bigfoot on the trail cam. Yeah, I'm going to start my Sasquatch Research Center scan. As soon as we get this first cabin up, I'm going to build another cabin that's going to be the Sasquatch Bigfoot Research Center. We'll make it a charity so that I don't have to pay taxes on the free money people will give me to look for Bigfoot. And you know how I'm going to look for Bigfoot? I'm going to hike while drinking beer because that's the best way to find Bigfoot, right? I bet you Bigfoot likes beers, right? They can be unbearable. Yes, they can. Well, I think we've done our due diligence, and I am trying to ramp up and do more shows. Feeling basically recovered from my previous medical problems, and thank you for all of the kind words and prayers and thoughts and, people sending me well wishes. I'm feeling like myself again. So we're going to start doing 4 or 5 shows, and we're going to put back some replays to try to get that YouTube hamster wheel spinning faster again. So I will most likely be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, but be sure that you follow me on X or Twitter at Stephen Canby and join our Discord server. That's the best way to know when shows are coming, because I always post to X, Facebook, and our Discord server a few hours usually before the show happens. Sometimes, I just decide to take a Saturday night or do something with my kids. So can you claim self-defense if you kill a bear out of hunting season? Well, I've heard that the wildlife enforcement people are pretty fair. So if you're getting charged by a bear that won't leave and you feel like you're in danger, you can shoot him. But again, I've got a soft spot for animals. I mean, I'm building a bird sanctuary after all. It's really, the bird sanctuary is going to be the start of the whole sanctuary. Eventually, the whole place, minus my cabin, will be a wildlife sanctuary. I hope. That's what my plans are for that place. I'm trying to earn more money so that I could buy more land there, because there's some that is available right next to mine, but I don't want to take out any more loans or anything like that. And sometimes, like a lot of men, I have Superman syndrome, so I'm talking to the guy who's got the land, and, he comes up with a figure for a bunch of land around me, and it's like $25K. And I go, I'll just tighten my belt. I can try to come up with that. Working dad, 2 kids, bills galore, like everybody else. It's mission impossible trying to come up with 25K out of nowhere, But I am finishing a book that I'll be selling on Amazon soon. I know I got a few other irons in the fire, new album that I'll be selling on CD of all things, and some other ideas to try to raise funds. The good news is that I think the bird sanctuary is just about a go. I got to find some more bird feeders, find some more bird houses, or build some bird feeders, build some bird houses. I'm going to put in some park benches and like a permanently mounted sort of telescope and binoculars so that you can look around and bird watch. That's pretty much done, or I've got the resources to do that, or that's very doable. The 25K, not so doable. It turns out my Superman syndrome, I arrogantly thought like, I could figure out a way to come up with that. My only backup plan for actually coming up with that is to sell like a lot of things that I would prefer to keep. Like, I got a retro computer collection. I have a retro synthesizer collection. I've got a lot of some retro, very desirable older guitars and other instruments. I may have to, but I'd rather not, right? But then I think it's only stuff, right? I'll just get more stuff. But one of the funny things is 3-4 times now I've sold an entire collection of Amiga computers. Look it up, Commodore Amiga, my favorite computers ever. Like I had 5 or 6 of them, and I only really used one. So, and then there's emulators. So a friend of mine offered me a bunch of money for them a couple of times, and I sold them. But then I buy them again. So, and then the next time you buy them, they're more expensive, right? So I don't want to sell those, but some of the other stuff I have, once you have it up and running, do a GoFundMe. I don't like GoFundMes. I feel like every GoFundMe I read is like, this is my dream. Give me the money and I'll do it. Well, if it's really your dream, you should come up with the money to do your dream yourself. That's just my opinion. But maybe I get too many people with GoFundMes, man. I feel like my feed is filled with GoFundMes. And it's always something like, it's my dream to make a movie. Give me $20,000 to make a movie. Or, like, if it's your dream to make a movie, figure out how to do it without the money, or find a way. Why is your dream suddenly my problem? I don't like it. DSP wouldn't last a day without electricity in a fridge. You know what I got, Watch Sick, because it's off grid. I have this thing called a Coleman upright cooler. It's so cool. It's like a cooler, but it goes this way. And it has a door in the front, like a little mini fridge. And you put ice in the top tray. You just fill that with like a bag of ice. And it keeps everything cold like a refrigerator for 2 or 3 days, all on one bag of ice. So that's my off-grid solution for that, right? Got any Wang computers? No, I don't have those, right? SEF Network has some Amiga games. Yeah, I love that thing in an Atari ST. Yeah, I love the old computers that I grew up with. And the amount playing with them makes me feel like a kid again. But I got to tell you, my favorite computer lately is this. It's right next to me. I can't really show you. But I got a 27-inch iMac, and it's a 4.2 gigahertz quad core. I think it has an NVIDIA video chip in it. I love that thing. Once I put Linux on it. I didn't like it when it was running Mac OS, but I put Linux on it, and I'm having it feels to me like when I was a kid again when I play with that thing. Of course, I've got it loaded with emulators and old games. I've got like something like 6,000 DOS VGA Sound Blaster games on it, and I've got Amiga games on it, and Atari ST games on it, and I've got a bunch of old video game emulators, Super Nintendo, SNES, TurboGrafx, Neo Geo. I've got just a horde of stuff from my digital past all loaded on there. Yes, Coleman does make some great stuff. I agree. All right, so I think we've done our due diligence. I may be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m., but I reserve the right to take a night off and do some important things. I have exciting plans for the weekend too, Wojcik and everybody. I'm going to build a composting toilet. And for those unaware, it's basically a bucket, but you got to put a wood surround around it, and then there's a urine diverter. One of the big projects for that new property is to put a composting outhouse. I don't want a regular outhouse. I've been in many outhouses on rural properties. They all smell like disgusting sewage, but a composting toilet does not smell. In fact, at the main cabin, we have one inside the cabin, but this one's going to be in a little shed, like an outhouse, but a composting toilet. And you just put sawdust, and it separates the one from the two. The one goes out the back of it to a bunch of pine trees that you plant or flowers or whatever. And the two goes into a biodegradable bag, and you throw it in a compost bin, and it turns into compost in a very short time. But I've been building a composting toilet for a long time. It's been on my to-do list. I just never got to it. And then a few times I was going to buy one, but the least expensive I found was $400, $500. And I just think I could build it in a night or two. I'm going to go get the materials. So exciting plans for the weekend, right? Building a toilet, my own toilet. Me, you could do it. Home Depot, you could do it. And they can't help, though. They can't help, right? Yes, and you've got to move them every few years. Yeah. Yeah, a normal outhouse is just a hole in the ground, as deep as you can get it, 6 or 8 feet deep, and then you put the shed over it with a hole that you shit through or whatever, and when you mix 1 and 2, it stinks no matter what you do, and it draws flies and everything else. A good composting toilet is sealed, so when the seed is down, the whole thing is sealed up. It won't draw flies or pests or anything like that. Yes, taking care of business. Exciting weekend plans. If anybody would have told me in my younger years that my exciting weekend plans would involve building a hillbilly toilet. But, I have to save money for other things. So, like, a bucket is $5, and a little bit of wood is only going to cost me $20, $30. I think I could build this thing for $50. We'll see. So I may be here tomorrow. I do have some other shows, backup shows ready to go. I guess we'll see how I'm feeling, but please do follow me on X. Be sure to check out our Truth Seekers Clips channel. We're really trying to get that channel monetized. Go there, watch. If you want everybody too, they asked me, you got to have a Clips channel, Steven, with quick takes. Well, there's a whole channel there and nobody's fucking watching them. So it took months to build that channel. Now we need watch time so that we can make money there. We're trying to do that. Also, be sure to smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you too won't miss a thing. And it's a big boost to the channel when you smash that subscribe button and come to the live broadcasts. You are most welcome. If you're listening in audio podcast land, we love and appreciate you, but come on over to the YouTube channel. Just put Truth Seekers in the search bar, one word, and come on over and be a part of the live tapings. You are most welcome. All right, so we've done our due diligence. I'm going to bounce on out of here. And I just want to say for legal reasons that Billy Carson is free to contact me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. And I'll make whatever, if I got something wrong, I will make corrections. But a large part of tonight's broadcast was just making fun of you because you're worthy of being made fun of because you're a moron. Ross Coulthart thinks Jeremy Corbell's the greatest human being ever. What a joke. Yeah. Well, the grifters, they all help each other out, right? They got to help each other out. They got to, everybody wants to help each other grift. That's basically what it is. Right, Solar Marshall? The grifters all play nice together, too. Do you ever notice that? Like, they don't rat on each other for being scumbags. All right, so that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Stephen Cambion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.
I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. 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 I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall.
They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
This UFO circle jerk. 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 This UFO circle jerk.
I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall.
This UFO circle jerk. 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 They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering. the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckster is.
Scrapings off Jim's